Chapter 39-20. Lin Feng's face was filled with shock. He hadn't expected his ancestors' actions to be so grand. What a pity! What a pity! He had almost succeeded, but in the end, he had failed. However, even if he had failed, he should have greatly delayed the arrival of the Armageddon War. Is what you said true? The female cultivator looked at the Demon Lord in disbelief. She didn't want to believe what the Demon Lord had said, but a voice in her heart told her. What the Demon Lord had said was true. Of course it's true, the Demon Lord said calmly. Now that your young Miss Corpse has given birth to a yin spirit and has remembered some things from her previous life, what are you still doing here? Why aren't you going to see your young miss? Where is my young miss? The female cultivator asked. Heavenly Sage Great World. The 9th Demon Mountain of the 9 Demon Mountains in the depths of Netherworld Island is where your young miss is buried, the Demon Lord said. Swoosh. Hearing this, the female cultivator quickly flew outside. The ancient city fell silent again. Lin Feng looked at the Demon Lord. It seemed that the Demon Lord had followed his ancestor Ji Zishu for a long time, just like the Dracophant sovereign. Or else the Demon Lord wouldn't know so much about his ancestor. Demon Lord! Can you tell me something about my ancestor, Ji Zishu? Lin Feng asked. He had too many questions in his heart. What had Ji Zishu experienced in his life? The Demon Lord had said that if Ji Zishu succeeded, the 5 decays of heaven and man would no longer occur in the world, and the era would no longer collapse. What had Ji Zishu done? All of this made Lin Feng very curious. The Demon Lord knew all of this, and he wanted to know the answer from the Demon Lord. No! The Demon Lord said calmly, mercilessly rejecting Lin Feng without any room for negotiation. Swoosh! There was a flash of light. The Demon Lord then disappeared. He returned to the demonic orb. Lin Feng was speechless. He really wanted to punch the Demon Lord a few times. This guy had so many secrets, so it was fine if he didn't tell him. She asked about the ancestors, but this guy still refused to tell her. This made Lin Feng extremely depressed, but Lin Feng couldn't do anything to the Demon Lord. If the Demon Lord didn't cooperate with him, there was nothing he could do. In the end, they could only talk in vain. Lin Feng intended to head to the residence where Ji Zishu stayed when he was young. He wondered if it was still there. There were traces of his ancestors there, and he wanted to take a look. Lin Feng walked towards the mansion and soon arrived. When Lin Feng arrived at the mansion, he was surprised to find that everything was well preserved and very clean. That's right, that female cultivator used to live here, right? Lin Feng couldn't help but think of that powerful female cultivator. Her cultivation was unfathomable. She was very loyal to Ming Xueqing, so after Ming Xueqing died, she didn't leave this place. Lin Feng guessed that the legend of the curse of the 8th generation Underworld King was spread by this female cultivator. It wasn't true at all. Of course, this ancient city was indeed shrouded in faint curse power. However, the curse power that lingered in this ancient city should have been cast by this female cultivator, and not the curse of the 8th generation Underworld King. The reason this place became a forbidden area wasn't because of the curse, but because that female cultivator was too powerful. Any cultivator who came to explore this place was killed by her. So, as time passed, more and more people believed in the legend of the curse. Lin Feng rummaged through this place, hoping to find something valuable. However, Lin Feng couldn't find anything, which made Lin Feng quite depressed. Of course, the harvest from this trip was also great. He finally knew who the ancestor who punched through the undying world was. He also knew the sacrifice that ancestor had made for this era. Sometimes, Lin Feng felt a little sad. If that ancestor had chosen not to do that thing, if he had chosen to live with the 8th generation Underworld King, perhaps, they would have lived happily together? Lin Feng finally left the ancient city. Outside the ancient city, he met up with Panda Cat, Female Ghost King, and the others. We plan to leave the underworld. What are your plans? Lin Feng looked at Female Ghost King and asked. Female Ghost King pointed at the bloody hole in her chest and said, I want to find that heartless person. Then, just like how he dug out my heart back then, I want to dig out his heart too. If that person can live until now, he must be very terrifying. You must be careful, Lin Feng said. Don't worry. I'll be fine. We'll meet again someday. Female Ghost King waved her hand at Lin Feng. Then she left. Lin Feng, Panda Cat, and the others returned to the world of the living. I'm looking forward to our next reunion, Panda Cat said. All good things must come to an end. Lin Feng, Panda Cat, and the others only gathered together when they were doing missions. Everyone dispersed and Lin Feng returned to the Nangong family's ancestral land. Seeing that Lin Feng had returned, Nangong Xian'er and Mu Liushi were very happy. They could finally relax. This is the Underworld King grass. You can start refining the pill now. Lin Feng took out a stalk of Underworld King grass and gave it to Nangong Xian'er. After seeing the Underworld King grass, Nangong Xian'er was very excited. After exchanging a few words with Lin Feng, she took the Underworld King grass and left. She probably went to find the elders in the family to refine the pill. Lin Feng's alchemy skills had long been abandoned. Therefore, he couldn't help Nangong Xian'er much. While the elders of the Nangong family were refining the pill, Lin Feng planned to go into seclusion. He had many things to deal with. For example, he wanted to see what was in the 8th floor of the demonic palace, and try to open the evil corpse ring. There were many things that he needed to do in seclusion. Lin Feng told Nangong Xian'er and Mu Liushi before he went into seclusion. He summoned the Chonglu Devil Hall and entered the 7th level of the Chonglu Devil Hall. Master! You're here! I've been waiting for you for a long time, Black Bear Sage said. Open up the 8th floor. I want to see what's in there, Lin Feng said. Yes, Master, Black Bear Sage replied and opened up the 8th floor. Then, Lin Feng and Black Bear Sage entered the 8th floor. Chapter 39-21. Initially, the Black Bear Sage had told Lin Feng that the Chonglu Devil Hall only had 7 levels. But in reality, the Black Bear Sage had been holding back. Back then, cultivation was at a low ebb, which was equivalent to the degenerate era. Very few people had become emperors. Therefore, the Black Bear Sage had only said 7 levels. After all, even if the 7th level was opened, the Immortal Emperor would still be at the Immortal Emperor realm. All of them wanted to cultivate to the Immortal Emperor realm. This seemed somewhat unreachable. It would be even more difficult to break through to a higher realm. The Black Bear Sage had been holding back. He had more or less underestimated Lin Feng. After all, the Black Bear Sage was in existence with the Chonglu Devil Emperor back then. He was an experienced and knowledgeable person. Lin Feng had coincidentally become the new owner of the Chonglu Devil Hall. The Black Bear Sage naturally looked down on Lin Feng. There were many things that the Black Bear Sage had held back. But as Lin Feng's cultivation level increased, the Black Bear Sage had already prostrated himself in admiration of Lin Feng. The Black Bear Sage had also told Lin Feng all the secrets in his heart, including the secrets of the Chonglu Devil Hall. It was the same. And now, Lin Feng stood in the 8th level of space and looked at everything in front of him in disbelief. The reason why he was so shocked was because Lin Feng had placed something in the 8th level of space. A piece of Chaos Stone. That's right. A Chaos Stone had appeared here. The Chaos Stone was a type of stone that was formed from the constant accumulation of Chaos Chi. Even during the initial stages of the epoch. The Chaos Stone was also an extremely rare treasure. But now, there was actually a complete Chaos Stone here. This Chaos Stone was 2 meters long, 1.5 meters wide, and 1 meter thick. The Chaos Stone was perfectly preserved. The most shocking thing was that there were actually divine patterns on the Chaos Stone. Those divine patterns weren't carved by humans. Instead, the Chaos Stone had fused with heaven and earth. The laws of heaven and earth were imprinted on the Chaos Stone. A rare treasure! It is truly a rare treasure! Lin Feng looked at the Chaos Stone with burning eyes. The value of this Chaos Stone was definitely unimaginable. The Chaos Stone was the best treasure for forging magic treasures. However, it was very difficult for anyone to find such a huge Chaos Stone that was branded with heavenly Tao divine runes. For Lin Feng to have obtained such a Chaos Stone, this was definitely a heaven-defying opportunity. Previously, Lin Feng had planned to use the Grand Firmament Purple Lightning Bamboo to forge his second life-bound magic treasure. Now, Lin Feng had planted the Grand Firmament Purple Lightning Bamboo sapling in the space-time continuum. He still needed some time to successfully cultivate the Grand Firmament Purple Lightning Bamboo. Now, Lin Feng planned to forge the Chaos Stone into his second natal magic treasure. The Chaos Stone itself was very much like a magic treasure. Moreover, it was branded with densely packed heavenly Tao divine patterns. Therefore, it was rather easy to forge a magic treasure from the Chaos Stone. Later, Lin Feng only needed to use his dermic powers to refine the Chaos Stone, and then set up the divine runes on the Chaos Stone. Those divine runes merged with the heavenly Tao divine runes imprinted on the Chaos Stone. When the time comes, the Chaos Stone was successfully forged by Lin Feng. As for the final shape of this magic weapon, Lin Feng felt that it would be good to keep it like this. Congratulations, Master, for obtaining a treasure like the Chaos Stone. Not long after, Master will obtain a new life-bound magic treasure. The Black Bear Sage hurriedly congratulated Lin Feng. Lin Feng smiled and said, Ha ha ha, this time's harvest is indeed not bad. When I have time, I will refine this Chaos Stone into my own life-bound magic treasure. Immediately after, Lin Feng left the Demon Palace and took out the Evil Corpse Ring. He continued to break the restrictions on the Evil Corpse Ring. There were only 9 beasts left in the Evil Corpse Ring that had yet to be broken. Sky-splitting Ho, Scarlet Flame Golden Swanee Beast, Ice-armored Horned Demon Dragon, 8-clawed Fire Centipede, 9-winged Heavenly Dragon, Thunderbat Dragon, Blue-winged Sea Dragon, Sea-splitting Mysterious Dragon Whale, Kuei Cow. The runes formed by these 9 beasts were incomparably powerful, and it was extremely difficult to break them. However, as Lin Feng's cultivation increased, the Evil Corpse Ring began to gradually break down. Lin Feng was gradually breaking the talisman. This time, Lin Feng spent 3 days to break the talisman's talisman. There were still 8 beasts left. Lin Feng continued to try to break the other 8 beasts. However, it was difficult to break the other beasts' runes. Currently, with my cultivation, it seems that I can only break the Sky-splitting Roar rune. Lin Feng couldn't help but slightly raise his eyebrows. Right now, he was still unable to break the other beasts' runes, but as the saying goes, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. The first beast rune had already been broken by Lin Feng. Lin Feng believed that as his cultivation increased, the other 8 beasts' runes would also be broken very quickly. At that time, he would be able to open the Evil Corpse Ring. Once the Evil Corpse Ring was opened, the secrets within the Evil Corpse Ring would be revealed to Lin Feng. After Lin Feng kept the Evil Corpse Ring, he immediately entered the Divine Tao Immortal Palace. The reason why the 3-headed viper could become so powerful was all thanks to the Divine Tao Immortal Palace. However, the Divine Tao Immortal Palace was divided into layers of halls. Previously, the 3-headed viper had only opened the first hall. Now Lin Feng planned to open the other halls to see what was inside. Since it was an immortal palace, the things inside must be extremely shocking. Lin Feng arrived in front of the second hall. If he wanted to open the second hall, he would need to break the restrictions on the door of the second hall. Lin Feng tried to break the restrictions on the second door, but he was shocked to find that he was actually unable to break the restrictions on the second door. It's really a palace left behind by an immortal. Lin Feng couldn't help but exclaim. Many cultivators like to name their own palaces with the words, Immortal Palace, in order to give their own palaces a more resounding name. However, Lin Feng knew that these palaces weren't immortal palaces at all. They were real immortal palaces. They were cultivation palaces left behind by immortals. And this Divine Tao Immortal Palace didn't disappoint Lin Feng. It was a genuine immortal palace. Moreover, those restrictions were added by immortals. Wanting to break them was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Stone Scripture. If I can find the stone scripture, and learn the higher-level formation rune techniques of the Heavenly Master lineage as well as the higher-level Stone Emperor scripture, breaking these immortals' formation runes would be a piece of cake. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. Lin Feng had only obtained a portion of the Heavenly Master lineage's inheritance, including the Stone Emperor scripture and various formation rune techniques. The core inheritance was on the stone scripture, and the stone scripture was in the Undying Realm. He needed to wait until Lin Feng entered the Undying Realm to find the stone scripture. Chapter 39-22. Lin Feng had obtained a time crystal previously, which could be used to upgrade the time-space. Lin Feng took out the time crystal and began to refine it. The time crystal was much rarer than the space crystal. It was definitely one of the most precious treasures. The time crystal contained an unimaginably strong power. This power was strong enough to change the rules of time. Lin Feng began to refine the time crystal. Under Lin Feng's refinement, the time crystal began to decompose gradually. Soon, the time crystal was completely decomposed. Then, the power of the decomposed time crystal quickly integrated into Lin Feng's time-space. With the integration of the power of the time crystal, Lin Feng's time-space began to transform. This was a transformation of the rules. Originally, 1 day in the outside world was equivalent to 5 days in the time crystal. Soon, 1 day in the outside world was equivalent to 6 days in the time-space. As the time crystal continued to fuse with him, the transformation continued. Lin Feng spent 5 days to completely integrate the majestic energy formed by the melting of the time crystal into the time-space. And the time-space had completed a major transformation. The flow of time had increased from 1 to 5 to 1 to 10. In other words, 1 day in the outside world was equivalent to 10 days in the time-space. The upgrade of the time-space made Lin Feng extremely excited. This was because the upgrade of the time-space had a great effect on Lin Feng. It could greatly reduce the time Lin Feng needed to cultivate. After successfully refining the time-space, Lin Feng entered the time-space. After the upgrade of the time-space, the growth of various spiritual herbs in the time-space would speed up, including the grand heaven purple thunder bamboo seedlings that Lin Feng planted. Lin Feng took out the chaos crystal and immediately began to refine it. Forging a natal magic treasure required a lot of patience. There must not be any mistakes. Once there was a mistake, it would affect the power of the natal magic treasure. It might even destroy these precious materials. Therefore, when Lin Feng was forging his natal magic treasure, he was very careful. Lin Feng imprinted divine runes on the Chaos Stone. Those divine runes intertwined with the original Heavenly Tao divine runes on the Chaos Stone, forming a very mysterious connection. Through the connection between the divine marks, Lin Feng gradually established a connection with the Chaos Stone. When the divine mark was successfully imprinted, Lin Feng dripped his blood on the Chaos Stone. A portion of the blood that Lin Feng had dripped onto the Primal Chaos Stone was devoured by the Primal Chaos Stone itself, while the other portion was devoured by the divine patterns. After those divine runes devoured Lin Feng's blood, they immediately turned into blood-colored divine runes. The divine runes that Lin Feng had set up completely fused with the divine runes of the Heavenly Tao that had already been imprinted on the Primal Chaos Stone. This made Lin Feng very happy, because the better the fusion of the divine runes, the stronger his control over the Primal Chaos Stone would be. After successfully refining the Primal Chaos Stone, Lin Feng roughly estimated the grade of the Primal Chaos Stone. Because the material of the Primal Chaos Stone itself was too shocking, the grade of the Primal Chaos Stone that had just been forged would definitely have reached the Emperor grade. However, Lin Feng couldn't determine the specific grade now. He would need to use the Primal Chaos Stone in the future to roughly estimate what the final grade of the Primal Chaos Stone was. Lin Feng kept the Primal Chaos Stone in his dantian and nurtured it. The Primal Chaos Stone was a magic treasure that leaned towards attacking and could play a huge role. As he had just successfully refined it, Lin Feng needed to nurture it for a period of time before he could use the Primal Chaos Stone to fight. After forging the Primal Chaos Stone into his natal magic treasure, Lin Feng planned to properly comprehend some of the top divine abilities that he had recently obtained. He had been in seclusion for 3 years in time and space, but only 3.5 months had passed in the real world. After Lin Feng came out of seclusion, he found out that Nangong Xianer's mother had woken up. Nangong Xianer's mother found out from Nangong Xianer that Lin Feng had taken the risk to enter the underworld island to search for the underworld king grass and gather the last main ingredient to refine the antidote saint pill that saved her life. Therefore, Nangong Xianer's mother asked Nangong Xianer to introduce her to Lin Feng so that she could thank him in person. Lin Feng met Nangong Xianer's mother. She was a beautiful woman who looked to be in her 30s. She was graceful and had a beautiful face. Her cultivation was in the boundary emperor realm. Although she wasn't particularly strong, she still had a lifespan of several million years. Nangong Xianer's mother had only lived for 30,000 years. She still had a very long lifespan. After this beautiful woman saw Lin Feng, she grew more and more fond of him. She was experienced, and from her daughter's words and actions, she knew that her daughter had fallen in love with Lin Feng. The beautiful woman looked at Lin Feng as if she was looking at her son-in-law. "Where are you from? Do you have anyone else in your family?" the beautiful woman asked. "Mother!" Nangong Xianer's face turned red. Nangong Xianer's face flushed red. Her mother had asked Lin Feng such a question so directly. Everyone knew what her mother meant. Although Nangong Xianer had feelings for Lin Feng, she was still a woman. Naturally, she couldn't express her feelings so directly. Nangong Xianer's mother sighed in her heart. She felt that her daughter didn't understand people's hearts. In her opinion, an outstanding man like Lin Feng needed to be properly grasped. Who knew how many women would yearn for such an outstanding man? Even Mu Liushi looked at Lin Feng with eyes full of affection. The beautiful woman knew that her daughter's close friend had also fallen in love with Lin Feng. "If you don't take the initiative, your man will be snatched away by another woman," Lin Feng said. "Some unforeseen events have happened in my family. Therefore, there are some things that I can't disclose. I hope Auntie can forgive me." When the beautiful woman heard Lin Feng's words, she knew what Lin Feng was planning. She didn't ask any more questions and left after exchanging a few words with Lin Feng. Nangong Xianer didn't think too much about it. She was still deeply in love with Lin Feng. Lin Feng didn't plan to stay in the Nangong family any longer. He still had many things to do. Previously, he had promised Gong Sunyi that he would go to the 100 Swords sect to deliver the Sacred Heart fruit to Gong Sunyi's father. Previously, Lin Feng had no choice but to escape to the gloomy ancient forests because he was wanted by the Genu Immortal sect and many other top forces in the bitter cold state. Now that Lin Feng's cultivation had increased, he was no longer afraid of the Genu Immortal sect and other forces. Unless the Genu Immortal sect had extremely terrifying experts, they wouldn't be able to threaten Lin Feng. Chapter 39-23. The 100 Swords sect was located in the southeast of the bitter cold state. It was quite far from the gloomy ancient forest. 3 months later, Lin Feng arrived at the 100 Swords town, which was about 50 kilometers away from the 100 Swords sect. Although the 100 Swords sect could not be compared to the 9 great factions of the bitter cold state, it was still a famous sect. Therefore, there was an endless stream of people who came here to learn. Many of the people who came here were young cultivators. Some came in groups, while others came under the escort of their families. He saw the hopeful looks on the faces of the young men and young women. Lin Feng seemed to see the scene of his youth when he joined the Blue Cloud sect. At their age, they were in the prime of their youth and were filled with dreams. Lin Feng found a restaurant and ordered some food and wine, planning to enjoy himself. Lin Feng could endure hardships, but when it was time to enjoy himself, he would also enjoy himself. He did not want to be an ascetic monk. Life was short, so he had to enjoy himself. Not long after, 2 young cultivators arrived. The 2 cultivators were a man and a woman, and they looked somewhat similar. They were probably a pair of siblings. The 2 of them looked around and found no seats. Suddenly, the female cultivator saw Lin Feng sitting alone and eating. She pulled her brother and came to Lin Feng. "There are 100 supreme-grade origin crystals here. It's enough for you to buy 1,000 tables of good wine and food. Give this table to me, and these origin crystals will belong to you." The female cultivator looked at Lin Feng condescendingly. Lin Feng was a young human cultivator, so the female cultivator planned to use origin crystals to send Lin Feng away. In fact, this was extremely rude behavior. The female cultivator did not dare to do this to the guests at other tables, but she dared to do this to Lin Feng. This was because the status of humans in the heavenly sage great world was relatively low. If a male cultivator dared to be so rude to him, Lin Feng would have slapped him. However, Lin Feng could not be bothered to argue with a female cultivator, so he ignored her. When the female cultivator saw that Lin Feng was ignoring her, she became angry and said coldly, "I'm talking to you. Didn't you hear me?" Lin Feng glanced at the female cultivator and said coldly, "Scram." The female cultivator was clearly from an aristocratic family. It could be seen from her clothes and the various Dharma treasures and accessories hanging on her body. When the female cultivator heard Lin Feng tell her to scram, she was furious. She immediately pulled out her sword. "Sister! Don't be rude!" The male cultivator hastily stopped his sister and looked at Lin Feng apologetically. "Brother, I'm sorry. My sister is spoiled. Therefore, I might have been a little impulsive. I apologize to you on behalf of my sister." "Brother, please don't hold a grudge against me. Forgive her." The female cultivator was naturally extremely unconvinced. She wanted to say something, but after being glared at by her elder brother, she shut her mouth and didn't say anything. Seeing that the other party was apologizing so sincerely, Lin Feng waved his hand and ignored the two of them. The male cultivator pulled his sister away. "Brother, why are you apologizing to that guy? Could it be that he was afraid of that fellow? He's just a young human cultivator. How dare he offend me? He really doesn't know what's good for him," the female cultivator said with anger still lingering. The male cultivator reprimanded her. "Nonsense. You don't know how dangerous the world of cultivators is. You can't judge a book by its cover. That person gave me an extremely unusual feeling. He might have some tricks up his sleeve. Making enemies out there is no different from digging our own graves. I shouldn't have brought you out. Otherwise, we wouldn't have caused all this trouble." The female cultivator pursed her lips, clearly disapproving of her brother's words. After Lin Feng finished eating, he rested for a while before flying in the direction of the 100 Swords sect. Along the way, all kinds of flying ships and beasts were flying and galloping. There were cultivators sitting on the backs of the birds and beasts. Clearly, those people were heading towards the 100 Swords sect. Lin Feng did not summon his three-headed viper. If he did so and rode an emperor-level mount to the 100 Swords sect, it would definitely cause a huge uproar. Usually, Lin Feng kept a rather low profile. When he arrived outside the 100 Swords sect, he saw 4 gigantic golden swords stabbed into the ground like mountains. They were majestic and heavy with a torrential sword chi. A large number of cultivators were gathered in the square outside the 100 Swords sect. Everyone was waiting for the 100 Swords sect's recruitment ceremony to officially begin. The aura of the 100 Swords sect is extraordinary. It's no wonder why they're one of the top factions in Bitter Cold Prefecture that's second only to the 9 major factions. Lin Feng could not help but mutter to himself. Right then, a pair of siblings soared into the skies and flew towards the 100 Swords sect's entrance. "Stop right there. Anyone who dares to trespass into the 100 Swords sect without permission will be killed without mercy." The brother and sister were immediately stopped by more than a dozen mountain guarding disciples. Those mountain guardian disciples were powerful, and the siblings trembled in fear when they sensed the coldness from their bodies. That brother and sister were none other than the brother and sister Lin Feng had met before. The male cultivator hurriedly took out a letter and handed it to the leading mountain guardian disciple. Then, he said respectfully, "Sir, this is our recommendation letter. We're here to join the 100 Swords sect under Sir Yuan's recommendation." The leading mountain guardian disciple opened the recommendation letter and read it before saying, "So, it was Senior Brother Yuan Chuan who recommended you guys. However, it's not time for the assessment yet. Wait outside. When it's time for the assessment, I'll inform you in advance. If you can pass the assessment, you'll naturally be able to join the 100 Swords sect as outer sect disciples. If the two of you fail, I'll recommend you to become menial disciples on account of Senior Brother Yuan Chuan. Thank you, sir. The siblings hurriedly thanked him and retreated to the periphery to wait for the assessment to begin. Now that the 100 Swords sect was so mighty, it was indeed worthy of being a top sect. They were deeply shocked. Whoosh! Right at that moment, another cultivator soared into the skies and headed towards the 100 Swords sect's entrance. It's him. The male cultivator recognized Lin Feng and was extremely surprised. Could this guy have a recommendation letter as well? The female cultivator revealed an incredulous expression. She looked down on Lin Feng and felt that Lin Feng was not worthy of having a recommendation letter. The mountain guardian disciple looked at Lin Feng and shouted, "Halt! 100 Swords Sect Master! Hurry up and welcome the esteemed guest." Chapter 39-24. Is that brat crazy? He actually dared to ask the 100 Swords Sect Master to welcome him? Crazy! Crazy! He's definitely crazy! Otherwise, why would he dare to say something like that? How dare he behave so atrociously in the 100 Swords sect? That brat is dead for sure! When Lin Feng's voice spread in the air, many people were stupefied at first, and then the crowd burst into an uproar. Lin Feng was a young cultivator, yet the 100 Swords sect master had personally come out to welcome him. Did he not know how to spell the word death? Brat! How impudent! The dozen disciples of the 100 Swords sect looked glum. In their opinion, Lin Feng was provoking the 100 Swords sect. The guards were disciples of the 100 Swords sect. Naturally, they were sword cultivators. They were all sword cultivators, and their swordsmanship was extremely high. They unsheathed their swords and charged at Lin Feng. They seemed to want to kill this person who dared to provoke the 100 Swords sect. Humph! Lin Feng couldn't help but snort coldly. The guards looked as if they had been struck by lightning. Their bodies fell uncontrollably into the forest. Plop! Plop! More than a dozen people fell into the forest and fainted. Heavens! What did I just see? The cultivators cried out in disbelief. Lin Feng had only snorted, but the guards were unable to endure it. It was hard to imagine how terrifying Lin Feng's cultivation base was. How dare you! Who are you? If you think you can act impudently in the 100 Swords sect just because you have some cultivation base, then you're gravely mistaken. At that moment, more than 10 elders flew over. Each of them had a powerful aura. There were even emperors among them. Even emperors are here. That brat is done for, a cultivator said. Where's the 100 Swords sect master? Lin Feng asked indifferently. He could have ignored Gong Sun Yi's request. However, Lin Feng had seen that Gong Sun Yi was a good person, so he had agreed to deliver the medicine. The journey was far, far away. Lin Feng naturally had to receive the grandest reception. Unless the sect master of the 100 Swords sect personally appeared, Lin Feng would not enter the 100 Swords sect. Brat, the sect leader is not someone you can meet whenever you want. The leading elder was a great emperor-level expert. He reached out his hand to grab Lin Feng. A huge energy handprint condensed in the void and grabbed at Lin Feng. In many people's opinion, a young human cultivator like Lin Feng wouldn't be able to withstand the attack of a great emperor no matter how powerful he was. At this moment, Lin Feng stepped forward. In a flash, a terrifying pressure emerged from Lin Feng's body and filled the atmosphere. The energy palm formed by the great Emperor Realm Elder crumbled instantly. A terrifying pressure pressed down on the bodies of the elders. Unable to withstand the impact, the dozen or so elders all fell to the ground. Then, they all fell to their knees one by one. Even the great Emperor Realm Elder was unable to withstand the pressure from Lin Feng's body. He directly knelt on the ground. Ants and dogs! How dare you jump around in front of me? If it weren't for my relationship with the 100 Swords sect, You people! You'd all be dead by now! Lin Feng stood with his hands behind his back and looked down at the 100 Sword Sect's elders. He actually dared to say such words to a group of elders of the 100 Sword Sect. He was truly arrogant. But now, no one thought that Lin Feng was arrogant. Because, the combat strength that Lin Feng had displayed. It was simply too terrifying. Everyone couldn't help but be aghast. Who are you? The great Emperor Realm Elder looked at Lin Feng in horror. You have no right to know, Lin Feng said indifferently. The corners of many people's mouths twitched violently. That was a high and mighty great emperor. However, he didn't even have the right to know the identity of the young human cultivator. What they saw and heard today, it deeply shocked everyone's heart. Young friend, you didn't come to our 100 Sword Sect to show off, right? The void trembled and a thin middle-aged cultivator stepped out. He looked at Lin Feng and said, Sect Master! Save us! The group of elders looked at the 100 Sword Sect Master. Oh my God! The 100 Sword Sect Master actually came out! I wonder if the 100 Sword Sect Master will deal with that kid! The surrounding cultivators discussed animatedly as they looked at the two people in the sky excitedly. Lin Feng did not answer the 100 Sword Sect Master. Instead, he said, Let me ask you. Am I worthy of you personally welcoming me into the 100 Sword Sect? The 100 Sword Sect Master could not help but frown slightly. He did not know what Lin Feng was up to. Although Lin Feng was young, the 100 Sword Sect Master did not dare to underestimate Lin Feng. He said, Young friend, of course you're qualified. Young friend, please come in. The 100 Sword Sect Master turned to the side and gestured for him to enter. Lin Feng flew towards the 100 Sword Sect. The 100 Sword Sect Master followed behind Lin Feng. Soon, the two of them disappeared from everyone's sight. The elders also got up one after another. However, at that moment, their expressions were extremely gloomy. They soared into the sky and flew towards the depths of the 100 Sword Sect. New Mountain Guardian disciples flew over and carried away the dozen or so unconscious Mountain Guardian disciples. Everyone was still in a state of deep shock. The scene before them was too unbelievable. A young cultivator. He came to a top sect like the 100 Sword Sect and humiliated the disciples and elders of the 100 Sword Sect. In the end, he was even politely invited into the 100 Sword Sect by the 100 Sword Sect Master. It was like a fantasy story. If they did not see it with their own eyes, they would not have believed it. Brother, who exactly is that person? He's actually so powerful, the female cultivator said with a trembling voice. When she thought of how rude she was to Lin Feng in the restaurant, she felt a lingering fear. That expert, in the blink of an eye. He could have taken her life. Fortunately, that expert did not make a move. The female cultivator's brother was also feeling lingering fear. He said, Fortunately, that young master is a magnanimous person. Otherwise, the two of us would have died in the restaurant. In the future, remember not to be arrogant when you're outside. Now that the female cultivator had completely regained her memory, she nodded repeatedly like a chick pecking at rice. At that moment, Lin Feng and the 100 Sword Sect Master had already arrived in the living room. Both parties sat down as guests of honor. Young friend, how should I address you? The 100 Sword Sect Master asked with cupped fists. Chapter 39-25. What? The corpse of my son, Gong Sun Yi. The sect master of the 100 Sword Sect stood up, his face full of shock. Great powers like the 100 Sword Sect had their own Yuan Spirit Lamp Palace. Therefore, the 100 Sword Sect must have known about Gong Sun Yi's death a long time ago. It was just that they couldn't find Gong Sun Yi's corpse. As for the sect master of the 100 Sword Sect, although he was in great pain, he had already accepted the cruel reality. Now that Gong Sun Yi's body had been delivered to them, they could finally bury their son's body. Lin Feng waved his hand and Gong Sun Yi's corpse flew out. Ear! When he saw Gong Sun Yi's body, he was shocked. The sect master of the 100 Sword Sect strode over quickly. He squatted down, and held Gong Sun Yi's body in his arms. For a moment, he cried bitterly. Lin Feng could understand the pain of sending off a loved one. He stood to the side and watched quietly. He did not interrupt, waiting for the sect master of the 100 Swords sect to calm down. After crying bitterly for a while, the sect master of the 100 Swords sect finally stopped crying. Then, he stood up and cupped his fists. "Thank you for bringing my son's body back. I'm here because of a promise that Gong Sun Yi made. Sect master, you don't have to thank me. This was the sacred heart fruit that Gong Sun Yi had exchanged his life for. Please accept it." Lin Feng handed the white jade box containing the sacred heart fruit to the 100 Swords sect master. The 100 Swords sect master opened the white jade box and saw the sacred heart fruit inside. He thought about how his son had died because of this sacred heart fruit. Grief welled up from the bottom of his heart, making it difficult for him to control himself. But life had to go on. She couldn't keep immersing herself in sorrow. The sect master of the 100 Swords sect said, "My young friend, you've had a long journey. I'm sure you're exhausted. Go rest in the inner court for a while. I'll come visit you when the time comes." "All right." Lin Feng nodded. Now that Gong Sun Yi's corpse had been delivered, the 100 Swords sect master still had many things to do. The master of the 100 Swords sect called over the servant waiting outside, telling her to take Lin Feng to the inner courtyard to rest. Lin Feng cupped his fists and left. He was arranged to stay in a courtyard with beautiful scenery. There were rockery and grotesque rocks, a small bridge with flowing water, hundreds of flowers in full bloom, and willows dancing in the wind. It was really a magnificent and beautiful scenery. Lin Feng stayed for the time being. He planned to leave the 100 Swords sect after Gong Sun Yi was buried. The next day, someone knocked on the door. Lin Feng went out and opened the door. He found a servant standing outside. The one who knocked on the door was this servant. Behind this servant stood a female cultivator in a purple robe. This female cultivator had a graceful figure, fair skin, and a beautiful face. She was truly a rare and peerless beauty. Lin Feng was puzzled. He didn't know who this person was. At this moment, the maidservant said, "Young Master Ji, my young miss has some questions that she would like to ask young Master Ji. Is it convenient for you?" Lin Feng asked. "Who is your miss? I don't seem to know your young miss." The woman was beautiful, but Lin Feng didn't know her. This was his first time meeting her. The purple-robed woman bowed slightly to Lin Feng and said, "I am Murong Rongmer. I am Gong Sun Yi's deceased wife." Lin Feng was very surprised. He didn't know that Gong Sun Yi had a wife. Of course, it wasn't surprising that Gong Sun Yi had a wife. Gong Sun Yi's wife was a first-class beauty. She was young, but she was already a widow. It was really a pity. "Fairy, please come in." Lin Feng invited Gong Sun Yi's deceased wife in to avoid gossip. Therefore, Lin Feng left the door open. Lin Feng naturally didn't care if rumors spread. However, as a woman, Gong Sun Yi's deceased wife cared a lot about her reputation. The two of them took a seat in the living room. Murong Rong opened her red lips and asked, "I wonder if young Master Ji can tell me what happened back then so that I can know how my husband passed away?" Murong Rong was born beautiful and moving. Moreover, she had a delicate temperament. That kind of delicate temperament made people want to protect her. Murong Rong, who had a sad expression, was even more pitiful. "Of course, no problem." Lin Feng nodded. As Gong Sun Yi's deceased wife, Murong Rong naturally had the right to know how Gong Sun Yi died. Lin Feng told Murong Rong everything from when he first met Gong Sun Yi to when he saw Gong Sun Yi being killed by a beast. Murong Rong's tears dripped down like raindrops from a broken string. Even her long eyelashes were covered with tears. "I've embarrassed myself in front of you, young Master Ji," Murong Rong said, a little embarrassed. Lin Feng said, "Not at all. Fairy, you're just being honest. I won't disturb you any longer. I'll take my leave now," Murong Rong said, then stood up. Lin Feng sent off Gong Sun Yi's deceased wife. On the third day, Gong Sun Yi was buried. Lin Feng watched Gong Sun Yi's burial and couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Sometimes, a human's life was extremely fragile. The 100-Sword Sect master arrived and said, "Young master, I'm really grateful that you sent my son's body and the sacred heart fruit here. There's a 10,000 swords mountain in the depths of the 100-Sword Sect. There are many peerless divine swords there, but those divine swords have spirits. I wonder if you like to use swords? If you like using swords, you can try your luck there. Who knows, you might be able to obtain a peerless divine sword." "Oh? 10,000 swords mountain? I'm interested, very interested." "My favorite weapon is swords," Lin Feng said hurriedly. He did prefer using swords, but it wasn't entirely true that the magic treasure he used the most was swords. However, even if Lin Feng didn't use swords, he wouldn't reject the offer. Who wouldn't want to obtain a powerful magic treasure? Moreover, to survive the Armageddon battle, Lin Feng needed to collect all kinds of magic treasures. That way, he could increase his foundation. With enough magic treasures, he could deal with all kinds of dangerous situations. "Young master, come with me," said the 100-Sword Sect master. He personally led the way, bringing Lin Feng to the 10,000 Swords Mountain. The 10,000 Swords Mountain was located in the depths of the 100-Sword Sect. The mountain was about 3,000 to 4,000 meters tall. It wasn't too tall, and the mountain was filled with treasured swords. Many of the treasured swords contained peerless sharpness. It was called the 10,000 Swords Mountain. However, Lin Feng estimated that there were more than 10,000 swords there. There might even be 100,000 swords there. Some of these treasured swords were left behind by our ancestors, and some were collected by our ancestors. They're all in the 10,000 Swords Mountain. Chapter 39-26. It seems that the 100-Sword Sect has collected quite a number of good swords, Lin Feng said as he looked at the 10,000 Swords Mountain. He could sense the extraordinariness of the peerless swords on the mountain. There were indeed some extremely powerful swords, but these swords had their own spirits. To obtain these swords, one had to gain the recognition of the swords. Otherwise, it would be impossible to obtain them. The ancestors of the 100-Sword Sect went deep into various dangerous places to collect these peerless divine weapons. In order to collect these peerless divine weapons, many of our ancestors even fell. The sect master of the 100-Sword Sect sighed and said, "However, our ancestors also laid the foundation for the 100-Sword Sect. Our ancestors' hard work forged the glory of the 100-Sword Sect. Every time an outstanding disciple of the 100-Sword Sect is born, he can enter the 10,000 Swords Mountain to search for his own peerless divine sword." After a pause, the sect master of the 100-Sword Sect continued, "My young friend, you should also enter and sense it. I hope you can obtain a peerless divine weapon that suits you." "Thank you." Lin Feng cupped his fists and walked towards the 10,000 Swords Mountain. He arrived in front of the 10,000 Swords Mountain and closed his eyes to carefully sense the aura of the swords. Gradually, Lin Feng formed a connection with the swords. Each of the swords seemed to be able to think. Lin Feng tried to find a sword that satisfied him. Ordinary swords did not catch Lin Feng's attention at all. Lin Feng took a fancy to a few swords, but he realized that they did not want to be taken by Lin Feng. Therefore, they refused to have any connection with Lin Feng. This made Lin Feng very depressed. He could only try to take the other swords. At that moment, something shocking happened. Lin Feng realized that the 3 stone swords that he had refined were fluctuating violently. This shocked Lin Feng. The stone swords rarely fluctuated on their own. However, now, the 3 stone swords were fluctuating on their own. What was the reason? Could it be because... Lin Feng suddenly thought of a possibility. He could not help but take a deep breath. If it was really as he thought, then it would be too shocking. Lin Feng's face revealed an excited expression. He quickly summoned the 3 stone swords. Buzz! The 3 stone swords floated above Lin Feng, shaking the void. Every time they shook the void, there would be violent waves in the void. This was the Void Sword Ripple, a special kind of summoning. The 3 stone swords seemed to want to use this void sword ripple to sense their companions. Buzz. Soon after, a special pulse appeared from the myriad swords mountain. This pulse was exactly the same as the pulse from Lin Feng's 3 stone swords. There really is a stone sword here, Yifu Tian murmured. Lin Feng was ecstatic. The stone sword was definitely one of the most mysterious magic treasures since ancient times. The most terrifying thing about the stone sword was the damage it could inflict on the lost races of the epoch. Once the stone sword was used, it could easily kill the epoch remnant race. The stone sword seemed to be a supreme treasure that was created to deal with the lost races of the epoch. Of course, this was apart from the fact that it was extremely destructive to the lost races of the epoch. The stone sword itself was also extremely powerful. For example, Di Wudao, who had betrayed Lin Feng's father, controlled 9 stone swords. When the 9 stone swords were combined, their power would stack. Therefore, when Di Wudao's 9 stone swords were used, even immortal-level magic treasures would be instantly destroyed by the 9 stone swords. Of course, Lin Feng had only collected 3 stone swords. Naturally, their power could not be compared to the 9 stone swords controlled by Di Wudao. Other than the number of stone swords, the cultivator's cultivation base also affected the power of the stone swords. The higher the cultivation base, the more the stone sword's power could be fully unleashed. Lin Feng's 3 stone swords formed a connection with the stone sword in the myriad swords mountain. The stone sword. It was the king of swords. The king of 10,000 swords. When the stone sword in the myriad swords mountain began to vibrate violently, a shocking scene happened. The densely packed swords on the myriad swords mountain seemed to have awakened. They began to vibrate violently. The sound of swords humming could be heard. Myriad swords chime! What's happening? The cultivators of the 100 Swords sect were alarmed. They all flew into the air and looked in the direction of the myriad swords mountain. The myriad swords mountain was a forbidden area of the sect. Without orders, no one was allowed to casually step in. Therefore, the cultivators of the 100 Swords sect could only watch from the periphery of the myriad swords mountain. Myriad swords chime! Is a peerless sword about to be born? The sect master of the 100 Swords sect was also extremely shocked. Many elders arrived and looked at Lin Feng, who was standing proudly in the void outside the myriad swords mountain. Their eyes flickered. A peerless sword will definitely be born. Sect master! How can we let our sect's peerless sword fall into the hands of others? An elder said. He did not want Lin Feng to obtain the stone sword. The sect master of the 100 Swords sect said in a low voice. A gentleman's word is a promise. A promise cannot be taken back. If he can really obtain a peerless sword, it will be young friend Ji's own opportunity. The sect master of the 100 Swords sect was a rather upright person. He did not seem like someone with bad intentions. The elders naturally did not dare to go against the sect master's wishes. They nodded repeatedly and did not say anything else. Come! Lin Feng shouted in a deep voice. Through the connection of the 3 stone swords, he was trying his best to summon the 4th stone sword. Buzz! A peerless sword light shot into the sky. The 4th stone sword rushed out from the myriad swords mountain. The 4th stone sword shook the void. Billions of sword chi swirled around the 4th stone sword. When he saw the 4th stone sword, Lin Feng's eyes immediately lit up. The fluctuations of the 4th stone sword were too powerful. It should be one of the closest stone swords. After all, there were differences in strength among the 36 stone swords. It's actually a stone sword. That's a stone artifact. Some people's eyes flickered. They were extremely interested in the stone sword. However, the stone sword already had an owner. They had no way of taking it away from Lin Feng. Did you guys notice? This stone sword has formed a connection with the 3 stone swords beside that brat. Could it be a set? A cultivator asked. The stone swords themselves are incomparably powerful. The stone swords form a set? If that's the case, how terrifying would the power of these magic treasures be? Someone exclaimed. The billions of sword chi swirling around the fourth stone sword quickly surged into the sword. Lin Feng waved his hand. Monstrous magic power surged out and enveloped the fourth stone sword. The powerful magic power surged into the fourth stone sword. In an instant, the fourth stone sword was refined by Lin Feng. Swoosh. Next. Chapter 39-27. Heavenly Brave Sword. So it's the Heavenly Brave Sword, the fifth stone sword among the 36 stone swords. Lin Feng mumbled to himself as he sensed the stone swords. Before this, Lin Feng had obtained the Sky Burst Sword, 34th among the 36 stone swords, the Sky Sin Sword, 29th among the 36 stone swords, and the Sky Meteor Sword, 30th among the 36 stone swords. As for the remaining 33 stone swords, Tian Kui Sword, Tian Gang Sword, Tian Ji Sword, Tian Xian Sword, Tian Yong Sword, Tian Xiong Sword, Tian Ning Sword, Tian Wei Sword, Tian Ing Sword, Tian Ing Sword, Tian Gui Sword, Tian Fu Sword, Tian Man's Sword, Tian Gu Sword, Tian Xiao Sword, Tian Fu Sword, Tian Man's Sword, Tian Gu Sword, Tian Xiao Sword, Tian Li Sword, Tian Jie Sword, Tian Wu Sword, and Tian Qiao Sword. Lin Feng did not obtain any. 9 of the stone swords were in Di Wudao's hands, so there were still 24 stone swords outside. However, Lin Feng had heard that some of the 36 stone swords had been lost in the past, and some had entered the future. In that case, there were less than 24 stone swords in the space-time. Now, Lin Feng had obtained the Heavenly Brave Sword, and it was the 5th stone sword among the 36 stone swords. This was a great harvest. Although the Heavenly Brave Sword was not as powerful as the top 4 stone swords, Tian Kui Sword, Tian Gang Sword, Tian Ji Sword, and Tian Xian Sword, its power was unimaginable. Especially when the 4 stone swords were combined together, they would become even more powerful. Lin Feng put the 4 stone swords away and immediately left the palace. Congratulations, young friend, for obtaining a stone sword. The sect leader of the 100 Swords sect cupped his fists and said with a smile. Lin Feng had obtained such a heaven-defying treasure, so he was naturally heartbroken. However, the sect leader of the 100 Swords sect was a righteous person. Therefore, he was actually happy for Lin Feng. As for those elders, it was very difficult for them to congratulate Lin Feng. I have to thank the sect leader for letting me try my luck here. I still have some matters to attend to. I will no longer stay in the 100 Swords sect, Lin Feng said. Then I won't keep you any longer. In the future, young friend, you can come to our 100 Swords sect anytime, anywhere. No matter when you come to our 100 Swords sect, young friend, you will always be an honored guest of our 100 Swords sect, the sect master of the 100 Swords sect said sincerely. The two of them chatted briefly before Lin Feng left the 100 Swords sect. He planned to go to the capital of the Kingdom of Despair to take a look. He wondered if Zhong Haimei and Nangong Lingbing were still waiting for him there. Back then, Lin Feng had promised to help them go to the Evil Spirit sect, one of the 9 great powers, to rescue their master, Fairy Fanjin. Fairy Fanjin had obtained a mysterious treasure that seemed to have something to do with condensing qi. That was why Lin Feng had agreed to help Zhong Haimei and Nangong Lingbing. If he could rescue Fairy Fanjin, the treasure would be his. At that time, Fairy Fanjin would have no choice but to agree. On the night that Lin Feng left the 100 Swords sect, a group of extremely strong cultivators arrived. Those cultivators were all wearing black clothes. The reason why they were dressed like that was to hide their identities. Is the news reliable? One of the black-clad men asked. It's reliable. That old thing from the 100 Swords sect was injured when he was looking for that item, another black-clad man said. In that case, we'll kill everyone in the 100 Swords sect. Leave no one alive, the first black-clad man said. Attack. Then, he waved his hand and about 3,000 to 4,000 black-robed men attacked the 100 Swords sect. The 100 Swords sect's defenses were instantly torn apart by the black-clad men. Their cultivation bases were unimaginably strong. Enemy attack! Enemy attack! The mountain guards shouted when they noticed the uninvited guests. Pooh! 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 Ripping sounds could be heard as the mountain guards were killed one after another. The 100 Swords Sect's members were startled awake. The sect master of the 100 Swords Sect led many elders into the air and glared at the cultivators. Who are you people? No one answered him. The black-clad men were too strong. They were like tigers in a flock of sheep. They began a one-sided massacre of the 100 Swords Sect's cultivators. You're courting death. An angry roar could be heard as an old man charged out from the depths of the 100 Swords Sect. He was an imperial emperor, and was extremely strong. Previously, Gong Sunny had taken the risk to search for the Saint Heart fruit because of this old man. This was the 100 Swords Sect's hidden expert. He was a high-level imperial emperor. Old thing. Where's the item? The leader of the black-clad men asked coldly. The 100 Swords Sect's patriarch narrowed his eyes and said coldly, Who do you think you are? I don't know what you're talking about. Then we can only capture you and search your soul. Let's attack together and kill this old thing, the black-clad man said with a cold smile. Following that, another 4 black-clad men soared into the sky and joined forces with the first black-clad man to attack the 100 Swords Sect's patriarch. The 5 black-clad men were all imperial emperors. While fighting the 5 black-clad men, the 100 Swords Sect's patriarch glanced at the 100 Swords Sect master. The 100 Swords Sect's patriarch understood and quickly left the battlefield. He rushed to the inner courtyard, where the women lived. The restrictions there had yet to be destroyed. However, many black-clad men were destroying the restrictions. They would probably be able to charge in very soon. Many women looked at the battle outside in fear. The 100 Swords Sect's patriarch found Murong and handed a storage ring to her. He said solemnly, Child, take this storage ring with you. There's something inside. However, don't look at what it is. Someone will come and take it away from you. Eunuch, did the other party come for this item? If so, we should hand it over. Otherwise, the 100 Swords Sect will be massacred. Murong said. It's too late. Since these people know about this item, they won't let the 100 Swords Sect go. Come with me quickly. I'll activate the Grand Formation and send you all away, the 100 Swords Sect's patriarch said in a low voice. Then, he walked toward the inner courtyard where there was a teleportation Grand Formation. Murong and the other women followed behind him. As soon as they arrived, the inner courtyard's restrictions were destroyed. Earth-shattering cries of war resounded through the sky. Chapter 39:28. Currently, the void in the outer region had long been sealed. Ordinary teleportation arrays could not teleport people out. Only special teleportation arrays could forcefully break open the sealed void and teleport people out. The teleportation array in front of them was a special teleportation array. It was very powerful and integrated with the power of time and space. It could teleport people out. However, such teleportation arrays had their weaknesses. For example, the teleportation array in front of them could not be compared to other teleportation arrays. Other teleportation arrays could easily teleport hundreds or thousands of people at once. Some large-scale teleportation arrays could even teleport hundreds of thousands of people at once. However, the teleportation array in front of them could only teleport 40 to 50 people at most. However, there were thousands of old, weak, women, and children here. Therefore, only a small number of people could be teleported out. Romer, quickly enter the teleportation array, said the sect leader of the 100 Swords Sect. Murong entered the teleportation array. Then, a few talented young men and women entered the teleportation array. The sect leader of the 100 Swords Sect activated the teleportation array with all his might. Swoosh! The teleportation array was activated and Murong and the others were teleported out. At this moment, a group of black-clothed men had already pounced on them. They began a one-sided massacre. Cries and screams could be heard endlessly. This place had become a purgatory on earth. In the forest, Lin Feng sat cross-legged. Every time he rested, Lin Feng would carefully comprehend the few powerful divine powers that he had cultivated. For example, the 72 gods' divine powers was definitely an extremely heaven-defying divine powers. However, Lin Feng's comprehension of this divine powers was not particularly deep. While he rested, he could continue to study this divine powers. Cultivation required hard work. Most of the time, Lin Feng was actually comprehending these divine powers when he rested. Late at night, the roars of beasts could be heard from time to time in the forest. While Lin Feng was comprehending the 72 gods' divine powers, the three-headed viper was resting nearby. The ferocious beasts in the forest were very sensitive to the aura of danger. Therefore, no ferocious beasts dared to barge into the area where Lin Feng was. Perhaps, those ferocious beasts also knew that there was an existence that they could not afford to provoke. The three-headed viper was very intimidating to those ferocious beasts. "Brat! We can sit down and have a good talk. Perhaps we can come up with a satisfactory result." While Lin Feng was studying the 72 gods, a voice resounded in Lin Feng's mind. Lady White Snake. It was her voice. She transmitted her voice to Lin Feng. Now that Lady White Snake had been taken into Lin Feng's gourd of creation, she had become Lin Feng's prisoner. Since Lady White Snake was the strongest in the ancient cloud forest, Lin Feng naturally hoped to convert her. If he could convert her, then the entire ancient cloud forest would be under Lin Feng's control. There were a few Emperor Realm experts in the Cloud Swamp ancient forest. There were also many Saint Emperor Realm beasts. Such a huge force, Lin Feng naturally spied on it endlessly. Now you only have two choices. One is to take the initiative to acknowledge me as your master, and the other is to be converted by me. Lin Feng opened his eyes and said, "You." Lady White Snake's expression was extremely ugly. She was a high-level Emperor Realm existence, and was extremely powerful. How could she take the initiative to acknowledge Lin Feng as her master? This was worse than killing her. It would make her feel even worse. Lin Feng cut off his connection with Lady White Snake. He knew that Lady White Snake would definitely not take the initiative to acknowledge him as her master. Since that was the case, he could only forcefully convert Lady White Snake. It was very difficult to convert Lady White Snake. Lin Feng had tried many times and failed. Now, Lin Feng had imprisoned Lady White Snake in the gourd of creation and was slowly depleting her spiritual energy. This was because Lady White Snake could not absorb the energy of heaven and earth within the gourd of creation. Therefore, when her spiritual energy was almost depleted, and the treasures that could replenish her spiritual energy were also almost depleted, Lin Feng would be able to convert her. Lin Feng would be able to convert Miss White Snake. When he converted her, his chances of success would be much higher. At this moment, the three-headed viper lifted its huge head and looked into the distance. Lin Feng also looked into the distance. There were violent fluctuations coming from that area. It seemed like a great battle was happening. "Let's go! Let's go and take a look!" Lin Feng stood up and leaped up, landing on the middle head of the three-headed viper. The three-headed viper spread its wings and flapped them violently. Then, it quickly flew in the direction of the great battle. From afar, Lin Feng saw hundreds of black-clothed people surrounding a group of cultivators. Most of the cultivators were women. There were also some men who were very young. Poof! 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 Ripping sounds could be heard. Those people were young. Although they were talented, their talents had not been realized. The difference in their cultivation level was too great as compared to the black-clothed people. Therefore, people were constantly being killed. They wanted to break out of the encirclement, but after several attempts, they failed in the end. More and more people died. It would not be long before they were all wiped out. "Murong Rong!" Lin Feng was shocked. He saw a female cultivator in the crowd. It was Murong Ronger, Gong Sunhee's late wife. Murong Ronger had the strongest cultivation level among these people. She had been trying her best to protect the people around her. She wanted to lead them out of the encirclement, but she failed every time. Moreover, Murong Ronger's body was already stained with blood. Her injuries were not light. These people are from the 100 Swords sect. Lin Feng frowned. He ordered the three-headed viper to speed up and fly toward the battlefield. Swoosh! Another sword she slashed out and instantly rushed in front of Murongrong. Murongrong was unable to dodge the terrifying sword chi. Her body was penetrated by the sword chi. Her body flew backward and was caught by a few girls behind her in time. Because her injuries were too severe, she fainted. Go to hell! The group of black-clothed people laughed sinisterly and attacked the last dozen cultivators who were lucky enough to survive. Just as these people were about to be killed, a sword chi suddenly slashed out from the void. The sword chi instantly destroyed the attacks of the group of black-clothed people. Then, the sword chi's power did not diminish. It pierced through the bodies of the black-clothed people. In the blink of an eye, 30 to 40 black-clothed people were killed. The rest of the black-clothed people's expressions changed drastically. They quickly retreated. At this moment, the three-headed viper flew over. Lin Feng stood on the head of the three-headed viper and looked at the group of black-clothed people indifferently. It's him, young Master Ji, please save us. Someone recognized Lin Feng and started begging for his life. Chapter 39-29. It doesn't matter who I am. What I'm curious about is who you are. What grudges do you have with the 100 Swords sect? How dare you act so viciously? Lin Feng said indifferently. Kid! There are some things that you don't have the right to meddle in. If you know what's good for you, you should leave. Otherwise, you'll end up getting yourself involved. The Emperor-level expert said coldly. An Emperor-level expert was naturally extremely powerful. Who would dare to provoke an expert of this level? This was an existence that stood at the peak of the heavenly sage great world. Although Lin Feng had displayed extraordinary combat strength, this Emperor-level expert didn't think much of him. What truly made this Emperor-level expert feel apprehensive was the three-headed viper. The three-headed viper was obviously Lin Feng's mount. For a young cultivator like Lin Feng to have such a mount was inconceivable. However, this Emperor-level expert guessed that Lin Feng might have already subdued the three-headed viper before it had matured. If the three-headed viper had already matured into an Emperor-level existence, and Lin Feng had only just subdued it, then it was too unrealistic. Regardless of the situation, Lin Feng's mount was so powerful that this Emperor-level expert naturally didn't want to completely fall out with Lin Feng. A bunch of reckless fools, especially you! A piece of trash! How dare you be so rude to this young master? Did you eat a bear's heart or a leopard's gall? Lin Feng looked indifferently at the leader of the black-robed men who had spoken. His words were filled with mockery and disdain towards the leader of the black-robed men. The group of black-robed men looked at Lin Feng as if they were looking at a madman. Lin Feng's words were too arrogant, especially when Lin Feng was only a young cultivator. This made many people feel incredulous. They felt that Lin Feng was courting death. Brat! Do you think you can be so arrogant in front of me just because you have an emperor rank mount? I gave you face, but you didn't want it. Since that's the case, I'll send you to the Yellow Springs. The black-clothed leader's expression turned cold. Being humiliated by Lin Feng like this, the black-clothed leader was completely enraged. Now, he couldn't wait to kill Lin Feng. Trash, since you've taken the initiative to seek death, then fine, I'll fulfill your wish. Lin Feng sneered and rushed towards the leader of the black-clothed men. As for the three-headed viper, it charged towards the other black-clothed men. The three-headed viper was simply too powerful. It immediately started a massacre. Lin Feng, on the other hand, summoned his sovereign's armor. The sovereign's armor wrapped around Lin Feng. After activating the ruler's armor, Lin Feng's battle prowess would increase substantially. He was probably comparable to an expert at the 5th or 6th heaven of the monarch realm. Go to hell! The black-clothed leader looked coldly at Lin Feng. Then, he sent a palm strike towards Lin Feng. That terrifying palm strike contained the power to destroy heaven and earth. The black-clothed leader didn't use any divine ability to attack. He only circulated his magic power. In his opinion, he didn't need to use any divine ability to deal with a young cultivator like Lin Feng. If he used any divine ability, it would be an insult to him. Lin Feng sneered. Many people looked down on him because of his young age. Lin Feng quite liked the feeling of being looked down on. That was because it was beneficial for Lin Feng to catch his opponent off guard. In a battle between cultivators, only the result mattered, not the process. The one who survived to the end was the one who had the last laugh. Lin Feng, on the other hand, used the thought-blooming flower, Sovereign's Descent, a peerless technique. When a lion hunts a rabbit, it attacks with all its might. Lin Feng remembered this saying. Therefore, whenever he attacked, he would never underestimate anyone. This divine ability was a peerless and invincible divine ability. When Lin Feng used this divine ability, the black-clothed leader felt that something was wrong. The aura emitted by this divine ability. It made his heart palpitate. The black-clothed leader knew that he had underestimated Lin Feng's strength. Although Lin Feng was extremely young, he was extremely powerful. The black-clothed leader wanted to dodge Lin Feng's attack, but it was already too late. He had already been locked onto by Lin Feng. He had no choice but to take Lin Feng's attack head-on. Lin Feng's extremely powerful attack instantly collided with the black-clothed leader. Bang! Accompanied by the sound of an extremely violent collision. The black-clothed leader was immediately sent flying as if he had been struck by lightning. Crack, crack. His arm. It was directly broken. Even his bones were exposed. It was extremely tragic. Ah! The black-clothed leader roared in anger. He had never suffered such an injury. Now that he was injured by a junior, he was simply mad with hatred. I want you to die a horrible death! The black-clothed leader roared. Then, he began to quickly chant an incantation. The leader of the black-robed men unleashed an extremely powerful divine ability. Suddenly, a loud rumbling sound came from the void. Then, a blinding light shone out. A huge divine sun appeared. That divine sun was like the sun from the 9 heavens. The light that shone out was enough to melt everything. The divine sun descended from the sky and suppressed Lin Feng. Humph! Lin Feng snorted coldly. Facing the attack of the divine sun, he directly turned into a sword chi and slashed towards the divine sun. He came from the heavens. One sword could kill an immortal. The sword chi that Lin Feng turned into instantly split the divine sun, and then quickly slashed towards the black-clothed leader. The black-clothed leader wanted to dodge the sword chi attack, but it was already too late. Pfft! The sound of something being torn apart suddenly came out. The black-clothed leader's body was instantly torn into 2 halves. But soon, Lin Feng felt that something was wrong. The black-clothed leader's body was torn into 2 halves, but there was no blood flowing out. Soon, the torn body turned into a puppet. The leader of the black-clothed men appeared several thousand meters away. Puppet technique. This person had actually used the puppet technique. Kid! Just you wait! You won't have a good ending! The black-clothed leader glared at Lin Feng with hatred. After threatening Lin Feng, he directly tore through the void and quickly escaped. The distance was too far. Lin Feng couldn't chase him in time. At this time, the 3-headed viper had already killed all the other black-clothed men. Young Master Ji! Please save Big Sister Ronger. Big Sister Ronger is dying. The dozen or so people who were lucky enough to survive pleaded. Lin Feng went to Murong Ronger's side and checked her injuries. Chapter 39:30. We can't stay here for long. Collect the corpses. Let's leave this place quickly, Lin Feng said. The others nodded and quickly collected the corpses. Lin Feng held Murong Rong in his arms. Although the beauty was in his arms, Lin Feng did not have any romantic thoughts. His magic power was continuously channeled into Murong Ronger's body. Lin Feng used his magic power to protect Murong Ronger's heart meridian so that she would not die from the failure of her heart meridian. Murong Ronger's biggest problem now was the injury to her heart. Of course, Lin Feng had many precious healing pills, so that kind of injury wasn't a big deal to him. Lin Feng took out a pill and fed it to Murong Ronger. Murong Ronger's injuries slowly recovered. They found a valley. Lin Feng asked a young girl to help Murong Ronger change into clean clothes and clean her wound. Murong Ronger's wound was on her chest. Lin Feng could not help her clean it. "Young Master Ji! Please save our clansmen! Only you can save them!" A group of people knelt on the ground and kowtowed to Lin Feng. "What's going on?" Lin Feng asked with a frown. A young boy said, "We don't know what happened. A large group of black-robed men came to our 100 Swords sect and started a massacre. Only a few dozen people escaped using the teleportation formation. However, they were soon caught by a group of black-robed men who also used the teleportation formation. After a great battle, only a dozen of us were left. Fortunately, young Master Ji appeared. Otherwise, even we would have been killed by those black-robed men. I don't know what's going on with the 100 Swords sect. Please help us, young Master Ji." The group of young boys and girls looked at Lin Feng with pleading eyes. Lin Feng had obtained the 4th stone sword from the 100 Swords sect. In addition, he had a good impression of the sect master of the 100 Swords sect. Therefore, Lin Feng decided to help the 100 Swords sect. He said, "You guys stay here and take care of Murong Ronger. I'll go take a look at the 100 Swords sect." The group immediately thanked Lin Feng profusely. Meanwhile, Lin Feng and the 3-headed viper quickly left. When Lin Feng arrived at the 100 Swords sect, he saw a raging fire. Countless corpses in the 100 Swords sect had already been burned to ashes. The battle here was over, except for the dozen people he had saved. Everyone had already fallen. To think that such a powerful sect like the 100 Swords sect would be annihilated just like that. It truly made one sigh. The 100 Swords sect's foundation is still lacking. If it was strong enough, they wouldn't have ended up like this, the Demon Lord said. Indeed, I don't know which group is targeting the 100 Swords sect. This is the Bitter Cold province. The 3 alliances of the 10,000 races have never been able to do anything here. So, the ones who are attacking must be from the Bitter Cold province, right? Lin Feng couldn't help muttering to himself. The most powerful force in the Bitter Cold state was none other than the Despair Divine Nation. After that, it was the 9 Saints Immortal sect, the Hell Protector Immortal sect, and the rest of the 9 Great Powers. Obviously, it was impossible for a group on the same level as the 100 Swords sect to be wiped out in such a short period of time. In that case, the ones who destroyed the 100 Swords sect should be the Divine Nation of Despair or one of the 9 Great Powers. Massacring an entire sect was something that rarely happened in the world of cultivators. Unless it was a blood feud, everyone would leave a way out. Lin Feng used the downpour water technique and summoned a torrential downpour. The rain fell. The 100 Swords sect that was engulfed in flames began to diminish. Not long after, the flames were completely extinguished. Lin Feng entered the 100 Swords sect and didn't find any special clues. The corpses had already been burned to ashes. The 100 Swords sect was completely finished. Lin Feng left the 100 Swords sect and returned to the valley. "Young Master Ji, how's the situation at the 100 Swords sect?" a young girl asked. More than a dozen people looked at Lin Feng with eager eyes. Lin Feng said, "No one was spared." Hearing this, more than a dozen people immediately cried. The world of cultivators was a cruel one. Therefore, Lin Feng didn't try to persuade them. Everyone needed to grow. Late at night, Murong Rong woke up. She saw Lin Feng sitting not far away. The others had already fallen asleep, only Lin Feng hadn't. Lin Feng looked at Murong Rong and said, "You're awake. You've recovered quite a bit. It seems that you've survived the danger. Thank you for saving me, young Master Ji." Murong Rong was very intelligent. When she saw Lin Feng, she guessed that Lin Feng had saved her, so she quickly thanked Lin Feng. "You're welcome, fairy," Lin Feng said. "100 Swords sect, how is it?" Murong Rong asked. "Other than the dozen of you, everyone else is dead," Lin Feng said. Murong Rong immediately shed tears. "Why did these people destroy your 100 Swords sect?" Lin Feng asked curiously. Although a force like the 100 Swords sect wasn't a top force, it still had an Emperor realm expert. Therefore, to destroy such a force, the price to pay was definitely not small. Most people wouldn't do that. The other party must have a motive, and it must be a relentless one. Murongromer's eyes flashed slightly, and she said, I'm not very clear about this matter. Lin Feng's senses were very sharp. Murongromer's subtle movements, even the change in her expression, couldn't escape Lin Feng's eyes. Therefore, Lin Feng knew that Murongromer wasn't telling the truth. Since she didn't want to say more, Lin Feng wouldn't ask any more. Rest well, Lin Feng said, and then closed his eyes. Murongromer looked at Lin Feng, as if she wanted to tell Lin Feng the truth, but in the end, she hesitated. The next day, Lin Feng said, Everyone, let's part ways here. Everyone be careful. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng and the three-headed viper quickly left. Murongromer sighed as she watched Lin Feng leave. She felt that Lin Feng must have discovered something, so his attitude became much more distant. Sister Ronger, what are we going to do next? Someone asked. Revenge. We must take revenge. Someone else said. Murongromer didn't know what to do next. Her sect had been destroyed, and she was at a loss. Lin Feng sat cross-legged on the three-headed viper's head. The three-headed viper flapped its wings and quickly flew into the distance. 2 hours later, a cloud of demonic fog flew towards them. There seemed to be a few terrifying creatures entrenched in the demonic fog. Those terrifying creatures looked at Lin Feng with sinister eyes. Chapter 39-31. Ant-like thing! You're courting death! A terrifying existence in the demonic fog roared angrily after hearing Lin Feng's words. Then, a huge claw reached out from the demonic fog. Then, it grabbed at Lin Feng. Swoosh! Lin Feng, who was sitting cross-legged on top of the three-headed viper's head, instantly disappeared. When Lin Feng reappeared, he was shocked. He was already above the huge claw. Holding the black dragon sword, he slashed at the huge claw. Fresh blood spurted out. The huge claw was instantly cut down by Lin Feng. My arm! Yifutian murmured. The existence immediately let out an incomparably shrill roar and retracted half of its arm. What powerful strength! In the mortal world, there are actually such young experts among the human race. How unexpected! A voice came from the demonic fog. The person who spoke had an indistinct aura. If one didn't sense it carefully, one wouldn't be able to sense the aura emitted from the other party's body. This was definitely a terrifying existence. It was much stronger than the one who had attacked them. Lin Feng roughly estimated the realm of the creature who attacked. It should be at the first or second level of the Emperor realm. As for the person who spoke, it was unfathomable. Even so, Lin Feng wasn't afraid of these people. So what if they had the advantage in numbers? He couldn't beat them. At most, he would just run away. You're not from the mortal world? Who are you? Lin Feng couldn't help but raise his eyebrows and ask. The leading creature didn't answer Lin Feng. Lord! Kill this child! The creature whose claw Lin Feng cut off said. It hated Lin Feng to the bone. The leading creature looked deeply at Lin Feng and said, We have more important things to do. Hearing that, the creature whose claw Lin Feng cut off could only nod. They did indeed have more important things to do. These existences quickly left and disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. Lin Feng, on the other hand, couldn't help but be puzzled. Just what world were these guys from? Generally speaking, only the three paramount realms and the Undying Realm would call other places mortal realms. Needless to say, the three paramount realms belonged to the higher planes and were equivalent to high-level worlds. The Undying Realm was also a secondary higher plane. They are from the Undying World, the Demon Lord said. The Demon Lord used to be the boss of the Undying Realm, so it was normal for him to be able to sense that those beings were from the Undying Realm. Lin Feng was puzzled. These creatures from the Undying World have actually gathered here. Moreover, they seem to have come with a mission. Just what is their objective? Thinking of this, Lin Feng decided to follow and take a look. Once again, he sat cross-legged on the head of the three-headed viper. Then, he ordered the three-headed viper to chase after them. The three-headed viper let out a sharp and ear-piercing cry. Then, it flapped its wings and gave chase. Murong Ronger and the others flew through the forest. Currently, the group was led by Murong Ronger. Murong Ronger planned to find a place for everyone to settle down temporarily. She still remembered what her father-in-law had said. When the time came, someone would come looking for her to take away the things in her storage ring. It seemed that the things in the storage ring were very important. Murong Ronger originally wanted to tell Lin Feng about the storage ring. However, she held back in the end. Murong Ronger was looking forward to meeting those people. At that time, she could ask them to avenge the 100 Swords sect. Swoosh! At this moment, the demonic fog flew over and hovered above Murong Ronger and the others. Sister Ronger, look up there. There seems to be some monster in the demonic fog, a girl said with a fearful expression. Don't be afraid. Sister Ronger is here, Murong Ronger said. In truth, she was also very worried. She did not know who the other party was. However, Murong Ronger was the backbone of everyone. Therefore, even though she was very worried, she had to appear very strong at this moment. A cold voice rang out from the demonic fog. Are you people from the 100 Swords sect? The person who spoke was the leader of the group. He was a creature with a human body and a crocodile head. He was very terrifying. The group was slightly stunned. Then, they quickly shook their heads. Murong Ronger said, We are not from the 100 Swords sect. You have the wrong person. After the 100 Swords sect was destroyed, they naturally did not dare to casually admit that they were from the 100 Swords sect. What if the other party was an enemy of the 100 Swords sect? At that time, wouldn't they die without a burial place? We are not enemies of the 100 Swords sect. We are the power behind the 100 Swords sect, the crocodile head creature said. What? The power behind the 100 Swords sect? There is a power behind the 100 Swords sect? A girl exclaimed. Soon, she realized that she had let the cat out of the bag, and her face turned pale. The crocodile head creature continued. It seems that you are indeed the lucky survivors of the 100 Swords sect. That's right. We are the lucky survivors of the 100 Swords sect. Lords, are you really the power behind the 100 Swords sect? Murong Ronger asked. Of course. The crocodile head creature continued. Let me ask you. Do you have something special on you that you need to hand over to us? Murong Ronger said. My lord, there is indeed something that we need to hand over to you. Oh? Where is it? The crocodile head creature's eyes lit up. Murong Ronger said. I don't have it on me at the moment. It is placed somewhere else. Clearly, Murong Ronger was holding back, afraid that something would happen if she handed it over. Bring us to get it, the crocodile head creature said. Murong Ronger said. My lord, our 100 Swords sect was destroyed because of that thing. Countless people died tragically. I hope that my lord can avenge our 100 Swords sect. If my lord agrees to avenge our 100 Swords sect, I will immediately retrieve that thing and give it to you after we have avenged our 100 Swords sect. The crocodile head creature sneered. The 100 Swords sect is merely a mundane power. It is fine if it is destroyed, but a lowly ant like you actually dares to negotiate with me? You truly don't know the meaning of death. As soon as he finished speaking, the crocodile head creature flicked his finger. Shwa, streaks of sword chi flew out. Pooh! 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 Sounds of tearing could be heard. The dozen people around Murong Ronger were instantly dismembered. Only Murong Ronger survived. The next moment, the crocodile head creature instantly disappeared from the demonic mist and appeared in front of Murong Ronger. He reached out and grabbed her neck. Chapter 39-32. Tell me, where is the thing? The terrifying existence looked at Murong Ronger with cold eyes. His eyes were filled with a demonic power. When Murong saw those eyes, she immediately screamed. His soul's defense was instantly destroyed. This was an extremely domineering soul-searching technique. It was different from ordinary soul-searching techniques. Ordinary soul-searching techniques required the cultivator to search for all kinds of information about the other party. Once the information was found, one would be able to find out a lot of things that one wanted to know. However, this soul-searching technique had a drawback. If there was a restriction in the other party's soul, then when the restriction sensed that the cultivator's soul was being searched, the restriction might destroy the cultivator's soul. The power of the restriction might destroy this cultivator's soul. At that time, only death would await this cultivator. And he wouldn't be able to get any useful information. Lin Feng had encountered this situation before. The soul-searching technique that the creature with a human body and a crocodile head used was rather special. He didn't sense what he wanted to search for, but directly asked the other party what he wanted to know. In this way, he could avoid the scene of the restriction in the other party's mind destroying the soul. However, this soul-searching technique was too domineering. After it was used, the other party's soul would completely collapse. "It's on me," Murong said with a dull look in her eyes. "Very good." The creature with a human body and a crocodile head curled the corners of his mouth into a sinister smile. He reached out to take off Murong's storage ring. However, at this moment, the void trembled, and a sword she slashed toward him. This sword she was too sudden. It was so sudden that the terrifying existence didn't notice it in advance. The power of this sword she was too strong. It was so strong that it made people turn pale with fright. Even the powerful creature with a human body and a crocodile head couldn't help but change his expression slightly. He had no choice but to block it. The creature with a human body and a crocodile head slapped at the sword she with a palm. His palm was surrounded by powerful magic power that was as majestic as the sea. It collided with the sword she. That streak of sword energy was formed by Lin Feng. Lin Feng borrowed the man descends from the heavens, a single sword able to kill immortals. The power it erupted with was incomparably terrifying, directly blasting the crocodile-headed creature flying. Then, Lin Feng changed from the state of sword chi to his original body and hugged Murong in his arms. At this time, several creatures of the Undying Realm had already recognized Lin Feng. "Brat! It's you! You're courting death!" These Undying Realm creatures roared angrily. Whoosh! However, before they could attack, Lin Feng had already left with Murong. He met up with the three-headed viper. Lin Feng sat cross-legged on the middle head of the three-headed viper. In his arms was the dying Murong. The three-headed viper flapped its wings and shuttled through the void at its maximum speed. It wanted to leave this place as soon as possible. Behind it, several terrifying creatures of the Undying Realm had already chased after it. I am sorry before. I didn't tell you the truth before," Lin Feng stammered as he looked at Lin Feng. Murong said with a pale face. She trusted the power behind the 100 Swords sect too much, so she chose to hide some facts. However, Lin Feng did not blame her. Lin Feng said, "You don't have to apologize. You didn't do anything wrong. Don't talk anymore. Rest well. My divine soul has collapsed. Even the immortal elixir of immortality can't save me," Murong said with a bitter smile. Lin Feng was silent. It was indeed as Murong said. Murong's current situation was extremely bad. The reason for this was that Murong's divine soul was too seriously injured. The divine soul was the foundation of a cultivator. Once the divine soul was injured, it would be an extremely serious injury. Murong's divine soul had collapsed. The reason why she was not dead was because she was hanging on by her last breath. If she let go of this last breath, only death would await her. "In my storage ring, there is another storage ring in my storage ring. The thing of this storage ring is something those black-clothed people and those people from the Undying Realm are looking for." Murong Ronga said weakly. Then, she continued, I'm very happy to be able to recognize you as a good person. Murong Ronga stretched out her hand, wanting to touch Lin Feng's face. However, she did not succeed in the end. When her hand reached out, it fell to the ground. In the end, Murong Ronga died. Boy, hand over the item and I can spare your life. Otherwise, no one in this world can save your life. The few creatures from the undying realm were getting closer and closer to Lin Feng. The terrifying creature with a human body and a crocodile head said with a gloomy expression. They were about to get the item, but it was snatched away by Lin Feng. These creatures from the undying realm wanted nothing more than to skin Lin Feng alive. You want the item? I won't give it to you, Lin Feng said fiercely. Although he really wanted to kill these guys to avenge Murong Ronga, they were too powerful. Moreover, there were too many of them. Therefore, this battle could be left for another time. Since you want to die, we'll fulfill your wish. The creature with a human body and a crocodile head said coldly. The few creatures from the undying realm suddenly increased their speed. Seeing their sudden increase in speed, Lin Feng was shocked. Lin Feng kept Murong Ronga's corpse in the space-time space. Then, he let the three-headed viper enter the space-time space as well. Lin Feng stepped on the 8 directions world and flew away quickly. In terms of speed, Lin Feng was much faster than the three-headed viper. In addition, Lin Feng's use of the Tao of space made his speed unimaginably fast. Very soon, the creatures from the undying realm were shaken off by Lin Feng. The 100 Swords sect was destroyed because of this item. The creatures from the undying realm didn't hesitate to cross the starry sky to come here. This item. What exactly is it? Lin Feng couldn't help but wonder. He found a hidden cave and sealed it with a seal. Then, he took out Murong Ronga's storage ring. His divine sense invaded Murong Ronga's storage ring. Very soon, Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Swoosh! Chapter 39-33. Phew! Lin Feng took a deep breath. He was finally going to open the storage ring. Lin Feng didn't know what was inside, but he could imagine that it must be something amazing. His divine sense invaded the storage ring, and Lin Feng summoned the item inside. A token! What these people wanted was actually a token. It was a black token that exuded an eerie and terrifying aura. On the front of the token, there was a picture of a Hell's Gate. On the back, there were countless runes. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown when he saw the front and back of the token. He felt that the token had something to do with the underworld. Of course, this was only Lin Feng's guess. Lin Feng's godly awareness penetrated into the talisman. In a flash, his godly awareness was pulled into an endless darkness. Do you know what is the true meaning of life? A voice rang out in the darkness. Who are you? Lin Feng asked. Let me ask you, do you know what is the true meaning of life? The voice rang out again. Let me ask you, who are you? Lin Feng asked again. Answer me first, the voice said. Answer me first. Tell me who you are first, and then I'll answer you, Lin Feng said. Kid! This is a very serious matter. Whether your answer is correct or not will determine whether you will know the secret of this token or not. The voice sounded flustered and exasperated. Many people had obtained this token and found out its secret, but no one had been like Lin Feng, who kept asking who he was. Therefore, Lin Feng had infuriated him. Lin Feng said indifferently. If I answer wrong, won't I not know the secret of this token? Of course, the voice replied. Then I'd better not answer, Lin Feng said. You must answer. The voice sounded like it was gnashing its teeth. Obviously, meeting a weirdo like Lin Feng had infuriated it quite a bit. Lin Feng said with an indifferent expression. If my guess is correct, you should be the spirit of the token, right? You've pulled me into this spiritual world. Hurry up and tell me the secret of the medallion, or I'll destroy it. Hearing Lin Feng's threat, the voice sneered. You're not the first to threaten me. But he won't be the last one to threaten me. You are now trapped in the spiritual world that I created, and you still dare to threaten me? What an ignorant and foolish act. I can destroy your soul at any time and let you die without a burial place. Lin Feng faintly said. Even if you destroy my soul, I will only lose the soul of a primordial spirit. I forgot to tell you that I have one main primordial spirit, and 5 auxiliary primordial spirits. Even if you destroy my primordial spirit, I still won't die. When the time comes, I'll destroy your main body and send you to hell. You shameless. The voice became flustered and exasperated. It had never seen someone as shameless as Lin Feng in all these years. It was so angry that it wanted nothing more than to cut Lin Feng into pieces. However, no matter how sullen it felt, it could only endure it. Lin Feng was clearly not someone to be trifled with. You win, the voice said viciously. Lin Feng said, Can you tell me the secret of this token now? The voice fell silent for a moment before saying, This token is not from this era. It's from the last era. A token from the last era? Lin Feng could not help but be shocked. This origin seemed a little too great, and it gave him a fright. The voice continued, That's right. It's a token from the last era, and it's related to the Burning Legion. The Burning Legion? What kind of faction is that? Lin Feng asked, puzzled. The Burning Legion was an invincible legion created by one of the 9 great masters of the previous epoch, the Burning Sacred Sovereign. It played a huge role in the war against the destruction of the epoch. However, in the end, it still couldn't stop all of this. Later on, the Legion was cursed and its members obtained the ability to become immortal. However, from then on, they would live in endless pain. The Burning Sacred Venerate sacrificed himself and turned his body into this token. He hoped that one day, someone would be able to use this token to find the cursed Burning Legion and rescue them. The voice said. Heroes shouldn't be tortured like this, Lin Feng said. But the real world isn't like that. There's no such thing as heroes. There's only the law of the jungle. Lin Feng fell silent. The voice was right. The real world was too cruel. And history, it was written by the victors. How can I find the Burning Legion? Lin Feng asked. You'll have to rely on yourself to comprehend some clues on the Burning Legion token. If you can find the Burning Legion, you'll have an invincible army. At that time, you'll be able to dominate the universe and even contend against the 3 realms. Wasteland. Otherworld. None of them will be a problem. The voice continued. Lin Feng said, No wonder those people crazily want to get the Burning Legion token. It's really good stuff. The next moment, Lin Feng's divine will retreated from the spiritual world created by the voice. He fiddled with the Burning Legion token. He could search for the Burning Legion in the future. If the Burning Legion was really as terrifying as the voice said, it would be amazing. To himself, it would be a great help. Of course, Lin Feng knew that before searching for the Burning Legion, he had to comprehend the secrets on the Burning Legion token. And that would require time. Lin Feng kept the Burning Legion token for the time being and headed to the Divine Kingdom of Despair's imperial capital. The current Bitter Cold province was not peaceful. The Genuine Mortal sect and several other forces were still looking for Lin Feng. But now that Lin Feng's cultivation had increased, he was not afraid of the Genuine Mortal sect. Moreover, he was shrouded in fate. His portrait could not be circulated. It was not easy to find him. 2 months later, Lin Feng finally arrived at the Divine Kingdom of Despair's imperial capital. Looking from afar, the Divine Kingdom of Despair's imperial capital was like a huge beast living on the ground. A terrifying aura filled the air. The Divine Kingdom of Despair's imperial capital gave off a suffocating and oppressive feeling. Countless cultivators arrived on flying ships or mounts. Outside the Divine Kingdom of Despair's imperial capital, they all landed and formed a long line. Chapter 39-34. There was a huge mirror above the city gate. It was the demon revealing mirror. The demon-revealing mirror contained the information of the people wanted by the divine kingdom of despair. Therefore, when one walked under the demon-revealing mirror, if one was wanted by the divine kingdom of despair, the demon-revealing mirror would show a change. The Jinyu Immortal sect is very powerful. I'm afraid my information has already been recorded in the demon-revealing mirror. Lin Feng couldn't help but think. At this moment, there was a huge commotion at the city gate. Then, a huge battle broke out. It turned out that an old woman wanted to enter the city. However, the demon-revealing mirror had shown its spirit. The old woman was actually a middle-aged female cultivator who had used the transformation technique to transform herself. That middle-aged female cultivator was a famous itinerant cultivator. People called her the Taiwa goddess. The Taiwa goddess had a beautiful female disciple. This female disciple came to the imperial capital to do some business, and was fancied by a young prince of the royal family. That young prince sent people to kidnap the Taiwa goddess's female disciple. Taiwa goddess's female disciple couldn't bear the humiliation and committed suicide in the young prince's residence. The Taiwa goddess only had one female disciple. She treated her as her own and treated her as her own daughter. However, her disciple had died so miserably. Hence, the Taiwa goddess entered the imperial capital. One night, she snuck into the young prince's residence and cut him into pieces. She wanted to avenge her disciple. However, this matter was found out by the royal family of the divine kingdom of despair. Since then, the Taiwa goddess had become a wanted criminal. Now, no one knew why the Taiwa goddess had come to the imperial capital. This time, she didn't manage to sneak into the imperial capital. After a huge battle, the Taiwa goddess was injured and fled. A general of the city guards led hundreds of experts to chase after the Taiwa goddess. Among the crowd, there were some cultivators who left the group. They were probably fugitives. They disguised themselves and wanted to sneak into the imperial capital. However, seeing that even an expert like the Taiwa goddess had failed to sneak into the imperial capital, they gave up on this idea. Hence, they left the group. It seems like the great transformation technique will be discovered. However, it's fine. I have other methods. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. He was still in the group. Long lines of people entered one after another. It was finally Lin Feng's turn. The demon-revealing mirror shone at Lin Feng. Lin Feng flicked his finger. A stream of destiny power silently entered the demon-revealing mirror. Immediately, the heavenly secrets were obscured. After the demon-revealing mirror shone on Lin Feng's body, it did not find anything unusual. Lin Feng entered the capital after paying the required origin crystals. The divine kingdom of despair was extremely lively. After entering the divine kingdom of despair, all sorts of hawking sounds could be heard. The kingdom of despair was so lively that Lin Feng felt the aura of the mortal world. For a moment, he thought he had arrived in the mortal world. Lin Feng didn't know if Zhong Haimei and Nalan Lingbing were still in the capital. He planned to find a place to stay for the time being before he went to find out where the two of them were. Roar! A deep roar resounded through the sky. A dozen strange beasts pulled a divine chariot and rushed over. Around the strange beasts were many guards protecting the chariot. That's the 8th prince's chariot, many people said. When they saw the chariot, they showed even more respect. The 8th prince, Mingho, was a talented and outstanding individual. Although he couldn't compare to the first princess in terms of strength and prestige, the 8th prince's talent wasn't much worse than the first princess. If the 8th prince was given time, he would definitely grow up. Of course, the 8th prince was keeping a low profile. He didn't show any intention of fighting for the throne. Moreover, he belonged to the neutral faction and had a good relationship with his royal brothers and sisters. Stop! Suddenly, the 8th prince's voice came from the chariot. The group stopped. The curtains opened, and the 8th prince walked out. Brother Ji! I didn't expect you to come to the capital. What a coincidence! It seems like it's really a coincidence that we can meet here. Mingho looked at Lin Feng in the crowd and smiled. Swoosh! Countless eyes looked at Lin Feng. The high and mighty 8th Prince was actually being so polite to this person. Who was this Brother G that the 8th Prince was talking about? Everyone was guessing Lin Feng's identity. Although they didn't know Lin Feng's exact identity, many people felt that Lin Feng must have a heaven-defying origin. Otherwise, why would the 8th Prince be so polite to him? So it's Brother Dugu. Lin Feng cupped his fists. The 8th Prince said, Brother G, since we're in the capital, I'm the host. Brother G, please come with me to the 8th Prince's residence. Let me show you the hospitality of a host, alright. Deference is no substitute for obedience. Lin Feng cupped his fists and boarded the chariot with the 8th Prince. The ferocious beast's roar shook the sky. It pulled the divine chariot, crushing the void, and quickly rushed toward the 8th Prince's residence. After arriving at the 8th Prince's residence, the 8th Prince ordered someone to arrange a place for Lin Feng. The two of them sat in the main hall. The 8th Prince asked, Is there anything you need to deal with in the capital? Lin Feng replied, I'm here to look for someone. Oh? Looking for someone? That's simple. Brother G, just tell me the person's information, and I'll give the order. If the person is in the capital, I believe we'll be able to find him within 3 days. The 8th Prince said. All right. Thank you for your trouble, Brother Dugu. Lin Feng said. Brother G, there's no need to be courteous with me. If you're courteous with me, it means you don't consider me a friend. Dugu Mingho said with a smile. It's a pleasure to have a friend like you, Brother Dugu. Lin Feng said with a smile. Dugu Mingho said, Brother Lin, you can rest in the residence for now. My elder sister is holding a banquet tomorrow, and many experts will be there. Brother G, why don't you come with me? Such a banquet would usually bring a lot of shocking news. Moreover, there would often be a small trade fair. Lin Feng was rather interested. He nodded. All right. The two of them chatted for a while, and Dugu Mingho personally sent Lin Feng to rest. After Dugu Mingho returned to the main hall, a white-robed scholar walked out from the inner hall. Chapter 39-35. That's right, it's him. The 8th Prince narrowed his eyes and said, Brother G's identity isn't simple. He's still wanted by the Jinyu Immortal Sect. That item should still be in the hands of the Jinyu Immortal Sect. It's said that this matter has something to do with the eldest princess, the white-robed cultivator said. Eldest sister? She's been related to the master of the endless ghost sand for a long time. Among the people who chased after Meng Bingling, there were also her subordinates. Her orthodoxy is related to the master of the endless ghost sand, the 8th Prince said. The white-robed cultivator said, The monarch should know about this matter as well, right? Why did he leave the eldest princess alone? The 5 signs of heavenly decay. The end of the world has arrived. That master has come into being. It's already something that can't be reversed. Imperial Father is most likely turning a blind eye to it, the white-robed cultivator said. After the prison Jinyu Immortal Sect obtained the item, they spread the news. Now many of the 9 great factions are trying to get on their good side. It seems like they want to use the item to negotiate with the master in the boundless ghost sand. They're probably trying to get benefits from it, the white-robed cultivator said. Asking a tiger for its skin. The 8th Prince shook his head and said. The white-robed cultivator said, Tomorrow, I wonder what kind of expression the first princess will have when she sees young Master G. I also want to see eldest sister's expression. The 8th Prince revealed an unfathomable smile. The next day, Lin Feng and the 8th Prince went to the eldest princess's residence together. Lin Feng had heard of the eldest princess before. The eldest princess was extremely talented and had a powerful cultivation base. She was also very ambitious and had been building up her own faction all these years. She wanted to become the first successor of the monarch. If the eldest princess was a man, with her cultivation base, talent, temperament, and methods, she would have been crowned as the crown prince long ago. However, the eldest princess was a woman. Although there had been an empress in the history of the divine nation of despair. Back then, there had been a lot of controversy. Let alone now. To put it bluntly, the world of cultivators was not only a world where the strong were respected, but it was also a world where men ruled. Therefore, the rulers of the various great factions were mostly men. Of course, there were also some large forces whose rulers were female cultivators, but such forces were too rare. Moreover, there was a big difference between an ordinary force and an imperial force. An imperial force was related to imperial power, so the imperial power was usually held by men. This was also the reason why the first princess, who was so outstanding, was still unable to be confirmed as the successor to the throne. There were 3 people competing with the eldest princess for the throne. They were the eldest prince, the 3rd prince, and the 5th prince. These 3 people were not ordinary people. The forces of the maternal clan were also very powerful. However, although they were extraordinary, they were not ordinary. However, there was no way to compare with the first princess. If there was a prince whose ability was comparable to the first princess, or close to the first princess, he had long been conferred the title of Crown Prince. Lin Feng and the 8th prince arrived at the eldest princess' residence. This palace was called Weiyang Palace. The first princess's name was Dugu Weiyang. Some beast carriages arrived one after another. These beast carriages were all parked in the huge square outside the Weiyang Palace. Those who could be invited by the first princess were all extraordinary people. Seems like the eldest princess really likes such gatherings. Lin Feng raised his eyebrows and said. The 8th prince said, Big sister has a lot of friends. Lin Feng naturally understood the meaning of the 8th prince's words. Big sister has a lot of friends. Didn't that mean that his big sister was very good at winning people's hearts? The eldest princess wanted to continuously strengthen her power. When her power was strong enough, she would be able to do it. Even if the current emperor did not want to make her the successor, she would still have to consider the consequences of doing so. The royal family did not talk about family ties. In history, there were many ancient immortal kingdoms and divine kingdoms where the princes fought for the throne. There were many cases where father and son turned against each other, and brothers killed each other. In fact, 3 days and 3 nights would not be enough to finish talking about it. Many people came forward to greet the 8th prince. However, Lin Feng noticed that many people did not respect the 8th prince. It seemed like these people relied on the fact that they were close to the eldest princess and did not respect the 8th prince. The 8th prince's expression was normal as he greeted everyone. He did not show any unpleasant expression. This made Lin Feng admire the 8th prince. It seemed like the 8th prince was a very scheming person. He needed to be more vigilant against such scheming people. Although the 8th prince looked good now, who knew what he was thinking in his heart? Lin Feng and the 8th prince entered the Weiyang Palace. The gathering was held in the Weiyang Palace. After Lin Feng and the 8th prince arrived, many people had already gathered. Seeing the arrival of the 8th prince, some people greeted the 8th prince while some people directly ignored him. As for Lin Feng, many people treated Lin Feng as heir. In their opinion, Lin Feng was just a servant of the 8th prince. Brother Ji, please take a seat. The 8th prince found his seat and invited Lin Feng to take a seat. Lin Feng nodded and sat down with the 8th prince. Many people were surprised. Everyone had thought that Lin Feng was the 8th prince's servant. Who would have thought that the 8th prince would be so polite to Lin Feng? Obviously, Lin Feng was not the 8th prince's servant. Instead, he seemed to be the 8th prince's guest. His Highness the 8th prince's taste in making friends is truly unique. A mocking voice sounded. The speaker was a cultivator opposite of the 8th prince. He was wearing golden clothes and looked very handsome. There was a trace of arrogance between his eyebrows. Who is this guy? Lin Feng asked. Golden Sky Sect. The son of the Godly Sword Sect's Grand Elder, the 8th prince said. Lin Feng naturally knew about the Godly Sword Sect. It was one of the 9 major factions of the Bitter Cold State. Back then, the Godly Sword Sect, Remnant Immortal Valley, and 100 Immortals Pavilion had gone to find Old Monster Yen and asked him for the token to find the Phoenix Fall. At that time, Lin Feng had met the Godly Sword Sect. It seemed like the Godly Sword sect was one of the factions behind the first princess. They were one of the factions that supported the first princess to inherit the throne. Brat, what did you just say? Golden Sky sect had heard Lin Feng use the word, guy, to describe him. His expression was very ugly, and he looked at Lin Feng coldly. I said you're a piece of trash. How dare a piece of trash shout here? Do you believe that I won't beat you half to death with a single palm? Lin Feng curled his lips and said. As soon as he said that, the entire hall fell silent. Golden Sky sect was an extremely terrifying cultivator. He had cultivated for 320,000 years and had already broken through to the Sage Emperor realm. In the future, he would have a chance to reach the Sovereign Lord realm. Chapter 39-36. After a short period of silence, the entire hall was in an uproar. That kid probably doesn't know Jin Tianzong's identity, right? If he knew Jin Tianzong's identity, would he still dare to say that? I don't think so. Maybe he knows Jin Tianzong's identity, but he still deliberately humiliated him. Could it be that he's relying on the 8th Prince's support? I'm afraid the 8th Prince won't interfere in such a matter. That's right. The 8th Prince is a scheming person. He won't casually participate in such a battle. If that kid thinks the 8th Prince can help him, he's gravely mistaken. Just wait and see. That kid is unlucky to humiliate Jin Tianzong like this. Jin Tianzong is ruthless. How can he let him go? Many cultivators began to discuss among themselves. They felt that Lin Feng was courting death by humiliating Jin Tianzong like this. An expert like Jin Tianzong was not a good-tempered person. It was not an exaggeration to say that Jin Tianzong would kill without batting an eyelid. 8th Prince! This kid humiliated me. Today, I'll teach him a lesson. I hope the 8th Prince won't stop me. Jin Tianzong stood up and walked toward Lin Feng. He said these words directly to the 8th Prince. Obviously, he did not put the 8th Prince in his eyes. Because, under normal circumstances, if he wanted to deal with Lin Feng, he would have done it directly. There was no need to involve the 8th Prince in this. The 8th Prince frowned. He wanted to say something, but Lin Feng smiled and said, 8th Prince, I'm not going anywhere. You don't need to do anything to deal with trash like him. I can suppress him without even moving a finger. Arrogant, really too arrogant. Previously, when Lin Feng said that he could slap Jin Tianzong half to death with one palm, everyone thought that Lin Feng was arrogant enough. Now Lin Feng said that he could deal with Jin Tianzong without even moving a finger. He really did not put Jin Tianzong in his eyes. It was simply an insult to Jin Tianzong. The corners of many people's mouths twitched violently. He had seen arrogant people before, but he had never seen someone as arrogant as Lin Feng. Brat! This young master wants to see what qualifications you have to say these words. When you are stepped on by this young master wants to see if you can still be as arrogant as you are now. As soon as Jin Tianzong's voice fell, he quickly rushed towards Lin Feng. Powerful spiritual power surged out, and a terrifying aura spread out from Jin Tianzong's body. After sensing the terrifying aura in his body, many people's expressions suddenly changed. The Golden Sky sect was indeed too powerful, to the point where people couldn't help but be shocked. What does that brat have to fight the Golden Sky sect? I think he won't even be able to withstand a single strike from the Golden Sky sect. Many people couldn't help but take a deep breath as they stared unblinkingly at Lin Feng and Jin Tianzong. Jin Tianzong opened his hand and slapped toward Lin Feng. Scram! At this moment, Lin Feng shouted coldly. He shouted loudly. It was like thunder rolling. It resounded throughout the world. When Jin Tianzong heard Lin Feng's shout, he felt as if he had been struck by lightning. It was unbearable. With a cry, he spat out a mouthful of blood. His body was sent flying backward. There was a thump. Jin Tianzong fell in the main hall. It could be said that he was in an extremely sorry state. Impossible, this is absolutely impossible. Jin Tianzong roared angrily, his eyes turning blood red. He was the direct descendant of the Godly Saber sect. Today, he had suffered such a great humiliation. He would become the laughing stock of everyone. Jin Tianzong now hated Lin Feng so much that he wanted to eat Lin Feng's flesh and drink Lin Feng's blood. The surrounding cultivators all looked as if they had seen a ghost. There was a soft cry. Jin Tianzong was sent flying. He even made Jin Tianzong vomit blood. This was too unbelievable, wasn't it? It was like a myth, shocking everyone. Many people couldn't believe that this was real. However, all of this, it had indeed happened before their eyes. It was real. I want your life. Jin Tianzong had gone completely crazy. He roared angrily. There was a flash of light. A magic treasure flew out. It was a blood-red long saber. Jin Tianzong held the blood-red long saber in his hand. Just as Jin Tianzong was about to attack Lin Feng, a voice was heard. Brother Jin. Today's matter can be considered as giving me face. Let's just forget about it. This voice seemed to have a special kind of magic. It made Jin Tianzong's originally violent emotions calm down in an instant. Jin Tianzong recalled the terrifying strength Lin Feng had displayed before. Even if he took out a supreme treasure, he was probably not a match for Lin Feng. He rushed forward recklessly. It was a dead end. He had completely lost his mind just now, which was why he was so crazy. Now that he had come back to his senses, he felt a lingering fear. The person who spoke came out of the inner hall. It was a beautiful woman. This person was the first princess. It was not the first time Lin Feng had seen the first princess. Therefore, he had a deep impression of the first princess. The first princess is here. At this time, many people stood up and greeted the first princess. Everyone, please take a seat. The first princess said with a smile. I'll give the first princess face and won't lower myself to your level today. Jin Tianzong looked at Lin Feng indifferently. This guy was obviously not a match for Lin Feng. It was the first princess who gave him a way out. He had to show off again. Lin Feng said indifferently. After the gathering, we can have a life-and-death duel. Hearing this, Jin Tianzong staggered and almost fell to the ground. Seeing Jin Tianzong in such a sorry state, many people could not help but laugh out loud. Jin Tianzong had been humiliated. In addition, he was really worried that Lin Feng would have a life-and-death duel with him after the gathering, so how could he dare to stay? He found an excuse. Then, he hurriedly left. The first princess did not pay attention to Jin Tianzong who had left. She looked at Lin Feng and said with a smile, Brother Ji. We meet again. When Lin Feng first met the first princess, he did not introduce himself. However, the first princess knew his name. Obviously, the first princess had investigated him. Yes, it has been many days since we last met. I never thought that I would be able to come to the first Princess Weiyang Palace one day, Lin Feng said with a smile. The first princess said. Perhaps this is fate. I'm late. I hope the first princess won't blame me. At this moment, a delicate laugh came from outside. Then, a female cultivator walked in. This female cultivator was wearing a white palace dress. She had a voluptuous figure and smooth skin. She was born with a beautiful face that could be broken by the wind. Her every move was charming and flirtatious, just like a vixen. Chapter 39-37. The eldest princess was also a beautiful woman, but she was high and mighty. Many people didn't dare to have any thoughts about her. However, this female cultivator was different. She wasn't inferior to the eldest princess in terms of looks. She didn't have the aura of a ruler like the eldest princess. She exuded a seductive charm that made people's hearts flutter. Not only was she beautiful, but she also didn't feel too distant from the others. Although she was a goddess, she was the kind of goddess that could be pursued. Fairy Shui. Lin Feng looked at the woman in surprise. Fairy Shui had opened a restaurant in Yang City. Later on, Yang City was destroyed, and she escaped from the city. It seemed that this mysterious Fairy Shui was from the imperial capital. Fairy Shui! She's Prime Minister Wang's granddaughter, right? A cultivator said, pointing out Fairy Shuiyi's identity. Her identity wasn't simple. Her grandfather was the Prime Minister of the divine nation of despair. One had to know that this was a nation of cultivators. Strength spoke louder than words. The fact that Fairy Shuiyi's grandfather was able to hold the position of Prime Minister showed how powerful he was. Of course, other than strength, he also had powerful connections and the trust of the current king. Is this woman's identity that extraordinary? Many cultivators exclaimed. The granddaughter of the divine nation of despair's prime minister had a powerful background. The Wang family was very powerful. The only thing they couldn't compare to the 9 factions was that their foundation was shallow. They didn't have a strong foundation like the 9 factions. But so what? Even if their foundation couldn't compare to the 9 factions, as long as Prime Minister Wang was in charge, who would dare to underestimate them? Fairy Shui, you're here! Welcome! The eldest princess said with a smile. When they were young, they were very close. They were best friends who talked about everything. However, as they grew older, Fairy Shui and the first princess also had a lot of friction between them, although on the surface they still had a good relationship. Although they seemed to be on good terms, only they knew that their relationship could never return to how it was before. I heard that Her Highness went to Yang City not long ago. It's a pity that I didn't have the chance to meet her, Fairy Shui said with a smile. However, there was a deeper meaning behind her words. Perhaps Fairy Shui also felt that the destruction of Yang City had a lot to do with the first princess. Of course, Fairy Shui wouldn't voice her suspicions. If she did, she would offend the eldest princess. The eldest princess smiled and said, I'm going to see that Tao Comprehension Immortal Stone. They were only passing by Yang City. They didn't go in. Who would have thought? Sun City was destroyed. It really makes one sigh. That's right. Even the restaurant I ran in Yang City was destroyed. What a pity. Fairy Shui sighed. It was unknown if it was intentional, or if she was truly sighing for the destroyed restaurant. Fairy Shui, please find a place to sit, the eldest princess said. Then I'll sit next to young Master Ji. Fairy Shui smiled at Lin Feng. Immediately after, she started walking towards Lin Feng. Many people couldn't help but mutter. Fairy Shui knew that brat. There were still many seats in the hall, but Fairy Shui didn't want to take one. Instead, she wanted to sit next to that kid. What did this mean? Could it be? Fairy Shui was interested in that brat. Many people started having thoughts about Fairy Shui. However, these thoughts had just sprouted when they were dealt a blow. This made many cultivators rather depressed. Many people looked coldly at Lin Feng. They were envious of Lin Feng. Come, Fairy Shui. There's more than enough room for the two of us, Lin Feng said with a smile. Shameless. What a shameless person. Many people couldn't help but roll their eyes. They prayed in their hearts that Fairy Shui wouldn't go over. However, Fairy Shui didn't care about their gazes. She came to Lin Feng's side. However, she didn't sit next to Lin Feng. Instead, she sat in the seat below Lin Feng. Seeing this scene, everyone felt relieved. Many people started to mutter. Perhaps Fairy Shui and Lin Feng were only friends, which was why they sat next to each other. The two of them didn't have the kind of relationship that everyone thought they had. I didn't expect young master to come to the imperial capital as well, Fairy Shui said. As the saying goes, marriage is bound by a thread. It seems that Fairy Shui and I are fated to be together, Lin Feng said with a smile. Damn, this guy is too shameless. He actually dares to tease Fairy Shui in public. Many people couldn't help but roll their eyes. Fairy Shui said with a smile. I also feel that we are fated to be together. Many people's mouths twitched. Fairy Shui couldn't have been tricked by that brat, right? She definitely couldn't believe that shameless person. The eldest princess said with a smile. I've invited everyone here today because I have something important to tell everyone. Hearing this, everyone's spirits rose as they looked at the eldest princess. The eldest princess said, A few years ago, I obtained a token that leads to an ancient immortal realm. All these years, I'd been searching for a way to enter that immortal realm, but I haven't been able to find a way. Fortunately, I've found some clues recently. Everyone here is my friend. If we enter the immortal realm, we might be able to obtain a great opportunity. How can I have the nerve to monopolize such an opportunity? Therefore, I plan to go with everyone to that mysterious immortal realm. The moment the eldest princess said this, the crowd burst into an uproar. The eldest princess is really benevolent. Many people were full of praise for the eldest princess. At the same time, they were also very excited. That was an immortal realm. If they entered, they might be able to obtain a great opportunity. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. The eldest princess wasn't a simple person. Everything she did had her own calculations. A immortal realm, such an opportunity, and the eldest princess wanted to share it with so many people. No one knew what she was up to. 3 days later, everyone come to the Weiyang Palace. We'll set off together then, the eldest princess said. Okay, we'll definitely be there then. Many people responded immediately. Ha ha ha, I wonder if I'll be lucky enough to go with the eldest princess to that immortal realm? At this moment, a loud laugh was heard. Then, a man in a black robe stepped into the hall. When he saw this person, Lin Feng's eyes narrowed. This man was actually the Tai Dao Honorable Master's disciple, Tu Lu. This made Lin Feng very surprised. Tu Lu obviously knew the eldest princess. Chapter 39-38. The cultivators of the 9 prefectures hated the Epic Lost clan. In other worlds, there were people who hated the Epic Lost clan like the cultivators of the 9 prefectures, but there were also people who did not. Everyone had their own thoughts, so they could not influence the thoughts of others. So it's Brother Tu. Brother Tu is a rare guest. The eldest princess smiled when she saw Tu Lu. As the disciple of the Black-Robed clan's Grand Dao Honorable Lord, Tu Lu's status was naturally very high. Moreover, Tu Lu's cultivation was extremely terrifying. Among the new generation of Black-Robed clan cultivators, Tu Lu was definitely a representative figure. Tu Lu smiled and said, I have another reason for coming here. Oh? What is it? The eldest princess asked curiously. Tu Lu said, My other reason for coming here is because of this child. As Tu Lu spoke, he pointed at Lin Feng. In fact, there were very few people present who knew Tu Lu's identity. However, even if they did not know Tu Lu's identity, the faintly discernible terrifying aura that he emitted made many people feel as if they had fallen into hell. Therefore, even if they did not know Tu Lu's true identity, they knew that he was definitely an extremely terrifying existence. Otherwise, the eldest princess would not have been so polite to Tu Lu. Now, Tu Lu was pointing at Lin Feng, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. It made people's imaginations run wild. Previously, Lin Feng had displayed extremely terrifying battle prowess. Such powerful battle prowess was enough to shock the world. However, against Tu Lu, it was hard to say what the outcome would be. I remember who he is now. He's the disciple of the Black-Robed clan's Grand Dao Honorable Lord Tu Lu. What? The Grand Dao Honorable Lord's disciple? My heavens, the Grand Dao Honorable Lord is an existence that transcends epochs. How powerful and terrifying is his disciple? Many people could not help but exclaim. At this time, someone else said, How did this person become enemies with that brat? Tu Lu clearly wants to kill that brat. Many people were also puzzled. They did not know how Lin Feng and Tu Lu became enemies. Brother Tu Lu came for Brother Ji? The first princess looked very surprised. Tu Lu laughed coldly and said, I'm sure you all don't know the identity of this person. He is actually Jiuzhou Lin Feng. What? He is Lin Feng of the 9 prefectures? Cries of surprise rang out one after another in the hall. Lin Feng of the 9 prefectures, who didn't know of him? Previously, the Sacred War Alliance had joined forces with the extraterrestrial races and some forces from the Great Worlds to invade the 9 prefectures. In the end, the two sides engaged in an ultimate battle. And everyone knew. Back then, if it wasn't for Lin Feng contacting the 9 prefectures' great emperors, how could the 9 prefectures' great emperors unite? In particular, the few old antiques might not make a move. If that was the case, the 9 regions would have already fallen. However, because of Lin Feng, the great emperors of the 9 continents had united as one and fought against the alliance army formed by the myriad races, the races from other realms, and those great worlds. In the end, he had killed the myriad races' 5 ancestors. They had defeated the alliance army. That was why the myriad races of the Sacred War Alliance hated Lin Feng to the bone. Although the myriad races of the Bitter Cold Prefecture had nothing to do with the myriad races of the Sacred War Alliance. But the influential groups of Kuhan Province had heard many things about Lin Feng. Who would have thought that Lin Feng would actually come to the Heavenly Sage Great World? It had to be said that Lin Feng was truly audacious. The majority of the Heavenly Sage Great World was under the control of the Sacred War Alliance. Coming to the Heavenly Sage Great World was simply suicide. However, Lin Feng just had to come to the Heavenly Sage Great World. This guy's guts were truly extraordinary. I didn't expect Brother Ji to have such an identity. The first princess looked at Lin Feng in shock. Fairy Shui also had an extremely shocked expression. The 8th prince was astonished as well. He was astonished by Lin Feng's real identity. Kid! I've been looking for you all this time. But you've been hopping around like a grasshopper. Now that I've finally found you, are you ready to die? Tulu looked at Lin Feng indifferently. It was as if he was looking at an ant. In Tulu's eyes, the gap between him and Lin Feng was too big. If he wanted to kill Lin Feng, it would be as easy as blowing off dust. Therefore, Tulu looked down on Lin Feng. This was a disdain that came from the depths of his bones. Everyone could feel Tulu's contempt and disdain for Lin Feng. Who gave you the courage to say such words to me? Lin Feng glanced at Tulu indifferently. Some people never know their own limits. You are such a person. Normally, I wouldn't be interested in dealing with trash like you, because it would only dirty my hands. However, my master, the Supreme Tao Honorable Lord, ordered me to kill you, so I had no choice but to accept the order. Tulu said with an indifferent expression. You're the one who doesn't know your place, said Lin Feng, smiling icily. Tulu looked at Lin Feng with contempt. It was as if he was looking at a dead man. I've seen many people who don't know their own limits like you. In the end, these people all died at my hands. You are no exception. Now is the time when the eldest princess is gathering everyone. If I kill you now, it would be disrespectful to the eldest princess. So you should be very glad that you are at this gathering, because you can live a little longer. When you leave this gathering, it will be the time of your death. Tulu's emotions were as calm as an ancient well. Killing Lin Feng seemed like an insignificant matter to him. Therefore, Tulu didn't care about this matter at all. Many people didn't dare to sigh. Tulu was indeed an expert from the lost races of the epic. He was simply too powerful. There were almost no cultivators who thought highly of Lin Feng. Tulu was in existence with heaven-defying talent, and such a terrifying master. Killing Lin Feng would be easy. Shameless boasting. Lin Feng sneered. I can't be bothered to talk to you now. After the gathering is over, I will personally take your head. Tulu's voice was cold. At this time, the eldest princess said, Brother Tu, there are no grudges that can't be resolved. Why don't we turn this into a small matter? Tulu said, Eldest princess, this is my master's order, and I can't disobey it. Therefore, this kid must die. Therefore, I ask for your forgiveness. What a joke. Do you really think you are invincible? There is no need to wait until the end of the gathering. If you want to fight, let's fight to the death in the arena. Chapter 39-39. The current Lin Feng was not afraid of anyone. So what if Tulu was strong? What did Lin Feng have to fear? He could use this opportunity to kill Tulu, and deal a huge blow to the black-robed clan. Lin Feng wanted to kill every member of the black-robed clan he saw. Good! You're courting death. Then come out with me. Let's go to the arena in the Imperial Capital's plaza and fight. Tulu looked at Lin Feng with a sinister smile. He still had the same arrogant attitude. In his eyes, Lin Feng was just an ant. If he wanted to kill Lin Feng, wouldn't it be a piece of cake? Slaughterer's arrogance seemed to come from his bones. He put his hands behind his back and stepped out. He looked like a god and a demon, making people feel intimidated. After Tulu left the hall, Lin Feng followed him out. The others also stood up. Everyone couldn't help but get excited. Lin Feng and Tulu were both top experts. Now, the two of them were going to have a battle to the death. Many people were already very excited when they thought about it. This battle will definitely be exciting, many cultivators said. After leaving the hall, Lin Feng and Tulu quickly flew towards the arena in the Imperial Capital's central plaza. As for the others, they followed closely behind. The cultivators outside saw that such a large group of cultivators were all flying towards the central plaza. They were puzzled. After asking around, they found out that the top genius of the Epic clan, Tulu, was going to have a battle to the death with Jiuzhou Lin Feng. What? Tulu from the Epic clan? Tai Dao Honorable Lord's disciple? What? Jiuzhou Lin Feng? The human cultivator from the Jiuzhou Great World, Lin Feng? All sorts of exclamations of surprise could be heard. Many people were deeply shocked by this scene. The black-robed clan of the Epic clan was famous. They were definitely one of the strongest Epic clan. As for the Grand Dao Honorable Lord, he was a living being that had transcended epics. One could only imagine how strong his disciple, Tulu, was. He must have a battle prowess that could shock the heavens and the earth. As for the name Lin Feng of the human clan in the 9 regions, there was no one who did not know of him. Everyone knew about Lin Feng's reputation, but it wasn't because of how powerful Lin Feng was. It was because Lin Feng had played a key role in the Great War of the 9 States. And now, the two of them were about to have a showdown to the death. This was truly a shocking showdown. It did not take long for the news to spread out. After hearing the news, many people were shocked and rushed to the central square. Tulu and Lin Feng landed on the battle arena in the middle of the public square. This void battle ring was very special. It was said that once the battle started, one person was bound to die. If no one died, the arena would be sealed forever. A large number of cultivators rushed over. The huge square was very crowded. There were even many cultivators hovering in the void to watch the battle. This showdown between the two pinnacle experts attracted the attention of countless experts. This Lin Feng is very famous. I've heard about him for a long time. This guy is one of the cultivators that the Sacred War Alliance wants to kill the most. Now, he has come to the Heavenly Sage Great World. How audacious! It is said that this Lin Feng is the #1 genius of the human clan in the 9 regions. He is very strong. I wonder what cultivation realm he is at now. Can he defeat Tulu? I think he's delusional if he wants to defeat Tulu. Tulu is a member of the Epic clan. His talent is heaven-defying. He has cultivated for much longer than Lin Feng. Although Lin Feng is talented, he has only cultivated for about 100 years. What does he have to fight Tulu? They are on completely different levels. I don't know why he would agree to a battle to the death with Tulu. Is he out of his mind? I heard that it was Lin Feng who initiated the battle to the death. What? There's such a thing? Then he's courting death. The surrounding cultivators were discussing the upcoming battle between Lin Feng and Tulu. In those cultivators' eyes, Tulu had a high chance of winning and killing Lin Feng. However, those who believed that Lin Feng could kill Tulu were few and far between. A voice rang out from the void arena. Are the two of you aware of the rules of the battle to the death in the void arena? The voice sounded. It was most likely the voice of the void arena's spirit. Of course. The two of them replied. Good. The voice rang out again. The next moment, buzz. Intense ripples spread out. A huge light screen appeared and enveloped the entire void battle ring. Lin Feng and Tu Lu were also sealed in the arena. The battle was about to begin. Countless people couldn't help but look at the two people in the arena. Lowly ant, I can take your dog life within 10 moves. Tu Lu looked at Lin Feng with a mocking gaze. It was a look of deep disdain. It was a look of disdain that came from the depths of his bones. Tu Lu had always been high and mighty. Perhaps it wasn't just Tu Lu. Every cultivator from the lost races of the epic treated him as a superior. Lin Feng sneered. You think too highly of yourself. Just wait until you're defeated by me. I really want to see what kind of face you'll have then. I'll be defeated by you. Do you think that's possible? Die. Tu Lu's voice was cold. He moved his arms in a rather unique posture. His left arm was placed in front of him. His right arm was raised. Following that, a lightning beam shot out from his right arm. The lightning beam contained a terrifying power that could destroy heaven and earth. It pierced through the void and shot toward Lin Feng. Lightning of death! Many people couldn't help but exclaim. The lightning of death was definitely a peerless and unparalleled technique. It was said that this attack was fused with two powerful forces. The first force was the force of death. The second force was the force of lightning. The force of death could deprive others of their lifespan. The force of lightning was the most powerful offensive force in the world. When the force of death and the force of lightning fused together, the power that erupted was simply unimaginable. Now Tu Lu had used the powerful divine ability, lightning of death. Instantly, many people were shocked. Tu Lu's attack is really too powerful. The lightning of death is incomparably heaven-defying. It has almost no weakness. Wanting to break this divine ability is as difficult as ascending to the heavens. That Lin Feng won't be killed instantly by Tu Lu, right? Killed instantly? It can't be, right? I think it's very possible. I think it's possible too. Tu Lu is really too powerful. Chapter 39-40. Tu Lu's lightning of death was indeed very powerful. It was no wonder that so many cultivators thought that Lin Feng would be instantly killed by Tu Lu. As soon as Tu Lu attacked, Lin Feng roughly estimated Tu Lu's battle strength. Tu Lu's battle strength was definitely above the third or fourth heaven of the Emperor realm. In addition, his bloodline was powerful and he had cultivated many top-notch divine powers. Therefore, his battle strength was extremely terrifying. Even Lin Feng did not dare to underestimate Tu Lu. Of course. Although Lin Feng did not dare to underestimate Tu Lu, it did not mean that he was afraid of Tu Lu. This was a completely different concept. When the lightning of death came crashing down, Lin Feng immediately used the Immortal King Descends to the Nine Heavens technique. This was an unparalleled divine ability from ancient times to modern times. Its power was incomparably terrifying. After this divine ability was used, the shadow of an immortal king appeared in the void. The immortal king stepped forward. It was as if he had crossed through endless time and space and arrived in this world. The immortal king's aura was simply too powerful. The descent of the immortal king directly collided with the lightning of death that Tu Lu had unleashed. What happened next was shocking. Tu Lu's lightning of death was directly shattered by the immortal king's shadow summoned by Lin Feng. After seeing this scene, everyone's faces couldn't help but reveal a shocked expression. Many people originally thought that Lin Feng would be instantly killed by Tu Lu's attack. Who would have thought that Lin Feng would not be instantly killed? Instead, he displayed extremely powerful battle strength. The immortal king's shadow did not dissipate just like that. Swoosh! A light flashed. In the next moment, the immortal king's shadow appeared in front of Tu Lu. Then, the immortal king's shadow launched an extremely fierce attack on Tu Lu. Tu Lu could not help but be shocked. He was originally full of contempt and disdain for Lin Feng. In his opinion, killing Lin Feng was as easy as moving a finger, that's all. But now, his attack was actually neutralized by Lin Feng's attack. Therefore, His previous contempt for Lin Feng was like a slap to his own face. This made Tu Lu feel extremely aggrieved. Other than feeling aggrieved, Tu Lu also felt a deep sense of humiliation, which almost drove him insane. However, what Tu Lu needed to do now was to neutralize the Immortal King's attack. In the face of the Immortal King's peerless attack, Tu Lu's expression was indifferent. He threw a punch at the Immortal King's phantom. Bang! Along with the sound of an incomparably violent collision, Tu Lu and the Immortal King phantom fiercely collided. The shadow of the Immortal King was destroyed, but at this moment, Lin Feng had already arrived beside Tu Lu. His cold voice rang out. "Slaughter!" It had to be said. "You've disappointed me." Although Lin Feng had only said a short sentence, it had greatly stimulated Slaughter. His words contained disappointment and disdain for Tu Tuesday. How could someone as prideful as Tu Lu be humiliated like this? Therefore, at this moment, he was so angry that his chest was about to explode. Boom! A violent sound of friction suddenly rang out. After Lin Feng's voice fell, 6 times the power of the dragon elephant had already exploded. It directly charged towards Tu Lu. Lin Feng's fist violently rubbed against the air, and even caused a sonic boom. Just now, Lin Feng had taken advantage of the moment when the Immortal King Phantom and Tu Lu were fighting to quickly close in on Tu Lu. Then he launched a thunderous attack on Tu Lu. A physical battle had always been Lin Feng's favorite way to battle. A violent collision of fists on flesh. A collision that could cause one's soul to tremble. As the saying goes, one's strength can break 10,000 techniques. When one's strength was strong enough, then there was no need to circulate one's spiritual power, and no need to use one's divine ability. He could directly use his unparalleled strength to explode with a devastating attack. Tu Lu's expression was gloomy. He was extremely confident in his physical body, so he was not afraid to fight Lin Feng physically. Tu Lu also punched out with an unrivaled fist. Bang! Accompanied by a dull sound of collision, Lin Feng's fist and Tu Lu's fist directly collided. Although it was just a collision of fists, their physical bodies were simply too strong. Even the void was shattered. How is this possible? Many cultivators exclaimed in disbelief. A physical collision could even shatter the void. What if their spiritual power collided? What kind of terrifying level would it reach? Just thinking about it sent chills down everyone's spine. Tu Lu took Lin Feng's punch with 6 times the power of the dragon elephant arm, but he was not directly defeated by Lin Feng's punch. This shocked Lin Feng, and he was even somewhat in disbelief. This Tu Lu's physical body was simply too strong. However, Lin Feng immediately laughed coldly. So what if he was strong? This was just the beginning. Go to hell. Lin Feng shouted coldly. The power of 6 times the power of the dragon elephant arm was completely unleashed. Lin Feng threw punch after punch at Tu Lu. Every punch. It contained a terrifying power that could destroy the heavens and earth. It was simply too strong, shocking everyone. Tu Lu's expression was somewhat gloomy. Compared to Lin Feng's shock, Tu Lu's heart was like a tsunami. Just now, he had used all his strength to block Lin Feng's punch. Tu Lu knew that he had already suffered internal injuries. Lin Feng's strength was simply too terrifying. If he continued to fight with Lin Feng physically, it would be extremely disadvantageous for him. Therefore, Tu Lu wanted to get rid of Lin Feng as soon as possible. However, Lin Feng did not give Tu Lu the chance. Lin Feng's storm-like attacks came one after another. It was truly terrifying. Tu Lu had no choice but to fight back with his fists. Bam bam bam. After more than 10 punches, Tu Lu could not completely block Lin Feng's lightning-fast attacks. Cracking sounds kept spreading in the air. Many of his bones had been broken by Lin Feng's attacks. Oh my God! Are my eyes playing tricks on me? Tu Lu is the disciple of the Tai Dao Honorable Lord, the top expert of the Black Robe clan's new generation. Now, he can only block and can't even form an effective counterattack. Yeah, it's just too incredible! Many people exclaimed. They could not believe what they were seeing with their own eyes. Bam! Lin Feng and Tu Lu clashed again. This time, Tu Lu's left arm was directly broken by Lin Feng's punch. Tu Lu's body was also sent flying. Wah! In midair, Tu Lu could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Ah! Tu Lu's hair was also disheveled. He looked extremely wretched as he roared in anger. Tu Lu had never felt so aggrieved before. He was so angry that he wanted to go crazy. Die! At this moment, Lin Feng had already attacked again. 6 times arms of the dragon elephant exploded as he punched towards Tu Lu's head. Chapter 39-41. Strong! He's too strong! I didn't expect Lin Feng to be so strong. This is too shocking. Yeah, he's too scary. It's not easy to find someone in the younger generation who can go against him. Perhaps only those geniuses who entered the Myriad Tribe Divine Palace back then can go against Lin Feng. Many people exclaimed. Everyone's attention was deeply attracted by the battle that was taking place at this very moment. Lin Feng's terrifying attack was about to collide with Tu Lu's head. Who would have thought that at that moment, Tu Lu's body would suddenly turn into a black fog? Lin Feng's punch landed on the black mist. In the next moment, Tu Lu, on the other hand, appeared 100 meters away. However, his face was extremely pale. Tu Lu was locked onto by Lin Feng at close range and had no way of getting rid of Lin Feng. In close combat, he was completely suppressed by Lin Feng. Now that he was able to get rid of Lin Feng, it was all because of the move he had just used. However, that move was not something that could be easily used. If it had been that easy to use, Tu Lu wouldn't have needed to use it after suffering such a huge loss from Lin Feng's attacks. Hence, Lin Feng guessed that the move he had just used might have caused a lot of damage to Tu Lu's body. TSK. You were so arrogant just now, so I thought you were strong. How dare you jump around in front of me with this level of skill? You're overestimating yourself. I've always thought that your master, the Tai Dao Honorable Master, was someone who had been scheming since ancient times. But now, it seems like your master, the Tai Dao Honorable Master, is just a piece of trash who has lived for a long time. Lin Feng curled his lips as he said. Not only did he humiliate Tu Lu, but he also scolded the Tai Dao Honorable Master. After scolding him. That felt good. Kid! Don't be too happy. You'll be crying soon. Tu Lu looked coldly at Lin Feng. As soon as he finished speaking, terrifying waves of energy surged out from Tu Lu's elixir field. Swish, swish, swish. Following that, a shocking scene unfolded. From Tu Lu's dantian, clones flew out one after another. A total of 8 clones flew out. This Tu Lu guy was truly something. To think that he had even refined 8 clones. That doppelganger and Slaughter's original body. There were 9 of them in total. The Netherworld Realm. At this moment, the 9 Supremes spoke at the same time. Then, the 9 Supremes turned into 9 illusory worlds. Each world was mysterious and unfathomable. Every world seemed to have existed since ancient times. Ancient, powerful, mysterious, immortal. 9 underworlds. It was rumored that the underworld was an extremely terrifying place. Legend had it that countless experts were buried in the 9 underworlds. Even if immortals entered the 9 underworlds, only death awaited them in the end. Whether this saying was true or not was still unknown. But as the saying goes, there is no smoke without fire. There was no smoke without fire. Since there was such a rumor in the world. Perhaps the rumor was true. Now, the 9 illusory worlds formed by the 9 Supremes merged into one. When the 9 illusory worlds merged into one, the originally illusory world actually became real. The Netherworld Realm. He immediately moved towards Lin Feng to oppress him. Lin Feng was instantly swallowed into the Netherworld Realm. What a terrifying Netherworld Realm! The 9 Prefectures world that is rumored to be able to bury immortals. It was actually condensed by Tu Lu. Tu Lu! She was truly a talented and outstanding person. Such battle prowess is truly shocking. Now, Lin Feng has already been swallowed by Tu Lu's netherworld realm. I wonder if he will die in the netherworld realm? If he can't escape from the netherworld realm, he might really die there. After seeing Lin Feng being swallowed by the netherworld realm, the surroundings were in an uproar. Those cultivators who originally thought that Lin Feng would win against Tu Lu couldn't help but waver. The eldest princess watched the battle without any ripples. No one knew what she was thinking. The eighth prince raised his eyebrows. His thoughts were deep, and no one knew what he was thinking. Fairy Shui couldn't help but worry for Lin Feng. Die! Die! Little bastard! I hope you die without a grave! Within the crowd, Jin Tianzong's face was filled with malevolence. He hated Lin Feng to the bone. Naturally, he hoped that Lin Feng would die in the netherworld realm. Lin Gongzi will be fine, right? In another direction, two female cultivators worriedly watched the battle on the stage. These two were Zhonghai Mei, Nangong Lingbing. The two of them had been waiting here for Lin Feng. Tu Lu's cold voice resounded in the netherworld realm. Brat! You have been swallowed by my netherworld realm! Now! Heaven and earth! No one can save you! Shameless boasting bastard! If I wanted to destroy your netherworld realm, it would be as easy as flicking my finger! Lin Feng sneered. Is that so? I'd like to see just how you plan to destroy my netherworld realm. Tu Lu sneered. Next, an abyss appeared in the netherworld realm. That abyss moved towards Lin Feng, trying to swallow him whole. An extremely terrifying aura was emitted from that abyss. When Lin Feng sensed the aura from that abyss, he couldn't help but feel his hair stand on end. The aura from that abyss was truly too terrifying. Lin Feng said that he didn't care about Tu Lu, but in truth, he was still very wary of him. Facing that abyss, Lin Feng directly brought out his 9 domineering magnetic fields. Lin Feng's 9 domineering magnetic fields condensed. Then, the domineering magnetic fields began to expand. In an instant, the 9 domineering magnetic fields destroyed the abyss that was swallowing Lin Feng. Then, under Lin Feng's control, the 9 domineering magnetic fields collided with the netherworld realm. Bang! It was as if 2 ancient worlds had collided. The power of the 9 domineering magnetic fields was incomparably terrifying, and it directly broke through the netherworld realm. Lin Feng rushed out of the netherworld realm and continued to control the 9 domineering magnetic fields to collide with the netherworld realm. Bang 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 bang! After dozens of consecutive attacks, the netherworld realm finally couldn't hold on any longer and began to collapse. In the end, the netherworld realm was destroyed, and the 9 Supreme Slaughter was beaten back to its original form. A person from beyond the heavens can slay immortals with a single sword. Lin Feng's cold voice suddenly resounded between heaven and earth. He turned into a dazzling sword ray and descended from the sky. Then, this sword ray divided into 9. In theory, Lin Feng could do 18 things at once, so he could at most turn into 18 sword rays. However, if he turned into 18 sword rays, the power would be dispersed. Therefore, Chapter 39-42. The 9 sword gleams that Lin Feng had transformed into were too powerful. Lin Feng's original body had locked onto Tu Lu. The sword gleams that he had transformed into were blocked by Tu Lu's superpowers. However, Tu Lu's doppelgangers were unable to block the attacks of the other 8 sword gleams. Poochie! 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 The sound of something being torn apart could be heard continuously. The heads of Tu Lu's doppelgangers were chopped off by the sword gleams. The 8 doppelgangers were instantly killed. You killed my doppelgangers! I'll take your life! Seeing his 8 doppelgangers being killed by Lin Feng, Tu Lu went berserk. He had spent a great deal of effort to create these 8 doppelgangers. Now that they had been killed by Lin Feng, it was only natural that he hated Lin Feng. Epic! Destruction! Destruction! At this moment, a low growl came from Tu Lu's throat. His voice was like the voice of the Grim Reaper, resounding in the air. Tu Lu's body exuded a terrifying aura that could destroy the heavens and earth. Then, an illusory world appeared behind Tu Lu. That illusory world was boundlessly large. However, upon closer inspection, that illusory world contained countless stars. That illusory world seemed to be a cosmic world. If it really was a cosmic world, then it would be too shocking. It would be absolutely unbelievable. Everyone was moved. Now, that world was beginning to crumble and collapse, heading towards destruction. This was an almost heaven-defying superpower. It was a living being that had transcended epochs. It was a supreme superpower created by watching the destruction of an epoch. Therefore, one could only imagine how powerful this superpower was. It was truly shocking. It was hard to imagine. Then, the epoch of destruction that was floating behind Tu Lu enveloped Lin Feng. That epoch of destruction wanted to destroy Lin Feng. What a powerful superpower! This Tu Lu! It's no small matter! All sorts of terrifying means! It's endless! I wonder if Lin Feng can withstand Tu Lu's attack this time? Many people couldn't help but exclaim. In the previous battles, Lin Feng had suppressed Tu Lu multiple times. Therefore, everyone had more confidence in Lin Feng. However, in such a battle of life and death, a heaven-defying superpower, it could possibly turn the tables. Now Lin Feng was fighting Tu Lu. The situation could change at any moment. After all, even though Lin Feng was suppressing Tu Lu, it wasn't like he was crushing Tu Lu. Humph! Lin Feng grunted coldly and started using the Great Desolation Scriptures. Lin Feng released the Great Desolation Scriptures. Lin Feng had obtained the Great Desolation Scripture a short time before. It contained some of the most incredible things. Desolation Palm. Lin Feng threw a punch at the epoch of destruction's world. Desolation of desolation, desolation of desolation, desolation of desolation, Asian of desolation, desolation. People couldn't help but be aghast. The desolation of desolation of desolation, Asian, the desolation of desolation, desolation of desis of desolation. Bang! Accompanied by an earth-shattering sound, the huge energy handprint in the void slammed against the destroyed epoch world. Although it couldn't destroy the shattered epoch, it could temporarily stop the shattered epoch's attack. Then, Lin Feng's supreme reincarnation fist landed on the destroyed epoch world. Crack, crack. The destroyed world began to crumble. Die! At this moment, Tu Lu had already arrived. He held a blood-red broadsword in his hand. The space around the blood-red saber began to distort. It was obvious that it was an amazing treasure. Tu Lu wielded his blood-colored broadsword and slashed towards Lin Feng. Suddenly, hundreds of millions of broadsword lights were formed. Every single one of them contained the power to destroy the heavens. The densely packed blade auras slashed towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng's face changed slightly. He brought out his magic treasure, and the power of slaughter rose rapidly. Lin Feng quickly brought out his Dominator's armor. The Dominator's armor protected his body. At the same time, he quickly retreated to avoid the attacks of the blade auras. However, it wasn't realistic to completely avoid the attacks of the blade auras. Clang, 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 some of the blade auras slashed onto Lin Feng's body and sent Lin Feng flying. However, with the protection of the Dominator's armor, Lin Feng didn't suffer much damage. Kid! Die! Tu Lu looked indifferent. He was like a god of death that had walked out of hell. He quickly charged towards Lin Feng again. He waved the broadsword in his hand and a blood-red dragon flew out. Dragon spirit! That blood-red broadsword has a dragon spirit! What a terrifying weapon! Many people exclaimed when they saw the dragon spirit flying out of the blood-red broadsword. The dragon spirit turned into a 1,000-meter-long blade aura in midair. It locked onto Lin Feng. Then, it charged towards Lin Feng. It charged towards him. That terrifying attack was simply too powerful. Anyone who saw that attack would be shocked. Anyone who saw it would be shocked. Lin Feng looked indifferent. He waved his hand and in a flash, 4 stone swords flew out from his hand. Tu Lu was from the Epic Lost clan. Lin Feng's stone swords specialized in killing the Epic Lost clan. Under Lin Feng's control, the 4 stone swords slashed towards the 1,000-meter-long blade aura formed by the blood-red dragon. The 4 stone swords instantly pierced through the 1,000-meter-long blade aura and destroyed it. The 1,000-meter-long blade aura turned into a blood-red dragon again. However, this time, it was cut into 5 parts. The blood-red dragon that was cut into 5 parts let out an ear-piercing cry. Then, it vanished into thin air. Under Lin Feng's control, the 4 stone swords quickly arrived in front of Tu Lu. Stone swords! When he saw the 4 stone swords, Tu Lu's face turned solemn. He knew how much damage the stone swords could do to the epic Lost Clan. Of course, Tu Lu was confident in himself. He quickly calmed down and waved the blood-red blade in his hand towards the 4 stone swords. However, the 4 stone swords quickly separated. The highest-ranked hero's sword slashed towards the blood-red blade in Tu Lu's hand. The other 3 stone swords instantly disappeared without a trace. Not good! Tu Lu's face changed. He did not expect the stone swords to be so strange. He wanted to retreat quickly. However, behind Tu Lu, a stone sword appeared and slashed towards Tu Lu. Then, stone swords appeared on Tu Lu's left and right. They slashed towards Tu Lu. Together with the stone swords in front, the 4 stone swords had completely locked onto Tu Lu. At the crucial moment, Tu Lu used total annihilation. Clang, 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 clang. 4 consecutive collisions were heard. He resisted the attacks of the 4 stone swords with difficulty. However, Lin Feng traveled through space and arrived in front of Tu Lu. Die! Lin Feng's voice was cold. He directly struck towards Tu Lu's head. Tu Lu's face changed suddenly. It was too late to dodge Lin Feng's attack. Poochie! Lin Feng's right index finger tapped on Tu Lu's head. A powerful force. Chapter 39-43. Tu Lu had been killed by Lin Feng. The entire world fell silent. Such a powerful existence had died just like that. Countless people still hadn't recovered from their shock. Lin Feng's battle prowess was too terrifying. The current Lin Feng was much stronger than the legends said. Lin Feng took Tu Lu's storage ring and treasures, then destroyed his body. In the end, Tu Lu only left a ball of origin energy, which Lin Feng put away. The battle is over! Seal open! A deep voice reverberated between heaven and earth. When this voice fell, a deep voice resounded between heaven and earth. The originally sealed ring was opened once again. Whoosh! Lin Feng flew down the arena. Ha ha ha, Lin Gongzi! I think we shouldn't attend the gathering. Why don't you come over to my place? Fairy Shui said with a charming smile. She was extremely charming and beautiful. She attracted many people's attention. All right. Lin Feng nodded and left with Fairy Shui. However, the storm had only just begun after the battle. Lin Feng of the 9 prefectures. He had killed Tu Lu, the disciple of the Grand Dao Honorable Lord of the Black Robe clan. This was truly an earth-shattering matter. Through this incident, many people guessed Lin Feng's battle prowess. Lin Feng was so young, but he already had the battle prowess of an emperor. Although they didn't want to believe it, it was an indisputable fact. This fact had deeply shocked too many people, causing them to be emotionally moved. Tiansu planet! This was a very famous planet in the extraterrestrial world. There were many experts on this planet. More importantly, this planet was the destination of dozens of space routes, so it was very lively. Many cultivators would often land on Tiansu planet to rest, or to replenish some of the things he needed. The Grand Dao Honorable Lord was currently on Tiansu planet. The Grand Dao Honorable Lord was in a living room, discussing with several experts about exploring an immortal abode. However, the Tai Dao Supremacy's expression suddenly changed. The others were all very powerful and had sharp senses. Naturally, they could sense the change in Tai Dao Honorable Lord. What happened? An expert asked. The Grand Dao Supremacy took a deep breath and waved his hand. Whoosh! With a flash of light, a jade pendant appeared in front of everyone. primordial spirit jade pendant! Everyone else was shocked. This was because the primordial spirit jade pendant that the Grand Tao Honorable Lord had taken out had cracked. The primordial spirit jade pendant had the same function as the primordial spirit lamp. The flame of the primordial spirit lamp went out. This meant that the death of a person was like the extinguishment of a lamp. The cultivator corresponding to the primordial spirit lamp had already died and his Tao had disappeared. If the jade pendant had cracked, it would also mean that the cultivator corresponding to the jade pendant had died. Now that the primordial spirit jade pendant that the Grand Tao's supremacy took out had cracked, it meant that the cultivator corresponding to this primordial spirit jade pendant had died. Whose jade pendant is this? A cultivator asked. It's my disciple's primordial spirit jade pendant, the Grand Tao's supremacy said gloomily. The rest of the group had also witnessed the massacre. They knew how powerful Tulu was. Logically speaking, with Tulu's cultivation, it should be very difficult to kill him. Even if Tulu is no match for him, it shouldn't be difficult for him to escape. The Grand Tao's supremacy nodded. His expression was very ugly. He was also very confused about Tulu's death. The Grand Tao's supremacy had thought of many possibilities, but he had never thought that Tulu would be killed by Lin Feng. The Grand Tao's supremacy naturally knew that Tulu had received his orders to search for Lin Feng. If he found Lin Feng, he would kill Lin Feng. However, the Grand Tao's supremacy did not think that Lin Feng was Tulu's opponent. Tu Xin! Come here! The Grand Tao's supremacy said. Not long after, a cultivator arrived. This cultivator exuded a gloomy and terrifying aura. This person was the Grand Tao's supremacy's right-hand man, Tu Xin. His cultivation was unfathomable, and he was many times stronger than Tulu. My lord! Tu Xin cupped his fists and bowed. The Grand Tao's supremacy said gloomily. Tulu has been killed. Go and check if Slaughter was killed by someone. If you find the murderer, kill him without mercy. Yes. My lord! After receiving the Grand Tao's supremacy's order, Tu Xin hurriedly left to investigate this matter. The news of Slaughter's death spread like wildfire. In the next few days, Yi Zichen's death spread like wildfire. This news even spread beyond the Bitterhan state and into the ears of the thousands of tribes in the Sacred War Alliance. Lin Feng actually went to the Bitterhan state. No wonder we couldn't find him. Great. Use our hidden forces. We must cut him into pieces. The higher-ups of the Sacred War Alliance said coldly. They were determined to kill Lin Feng. They were willing to use their hidden forces to kill Lin Feng. The people of the Jinyu Immortal sect also heard this news. This matter immediately caused a certain amount of panic in the Jinyu Immortal sect. Back then, the Jinyu Immortal sect repaid Lin Feng's kindness with enmity. Because of this, the two sides formed a grudge. Now that Lin Feng had become so powerful, the Jinyu Immortal sect was naturally worried about Lin Feng's revenge. After Meng Bingling received this news, she was speechless for a long time. Lin Feng brought her all the way back to the Jinyu Immortal sect, and even braved great danger. At that time, Meng Bingling was very touched. For a moment, Meng Bingling was even moved by Lin Feng. But, later, Meng Bingling still chose to stand on the side of the family's interests. The Jinyu Immortal sect and the Black-Robed clan were related. When Tulu appeared in the Jinyu Immortal sect, Meng Bingling knew of Lin Feng's true identity, and also knew that Tulu wanted to kill Lin Feng. But she didn't inform Lin Feng. She silently watched all of this unfold. Who would have thought that Lin Feng would leave without making a sound? Now, he had even grown into such a terrifying existence. We can't continue to wait, we need to act. If we don't act now, it might be a long night with many dreams, Meng Tianli said. On this day, the Jinyu Immortal sect's upper echelons held an emergency meeting. No one knew what they were discussing. But obviously, the matter discussed must be related to dealing with Lin Feng. On this day, the eldest princess and the others went to the mysterious immortal realm, but Lin Feng did not appear. Originally, the eldest princess's actions made Lin Feng very suspicious, and after the battle, Lin Feng and Fairy Shui chatted for a long time. Fairy Shui also had doubts about the eldest princess's actions, and felt that this matter was definitely not simple. Therefore, Lin Feng didn't want to go. Lin Feng did not return to the 8th prince's residence, but stayed in the Prime Minister's residence. Of course, Lin Feng also sent someone to inform the 8th prince, but only said that he had something to deal with and could not return, and thanked the 8th prince for his hospitality. The 8th prince was a smart person, and naturally understood the various ways of the world. On this day, someone handed in a visiting card, saying that they wanted to see Lin Feng. Lin Feng asked and found out that the visitors were 2 female cultivators. Lin Feng was shocked. Could it be Zhong Haimei and Nangong Lingbing? Chapter 39-44. Not long after, the 2 women arrived. After meeting, Lin Feng realized that it was really Zhong Haimei and Nangong Lingbing. Lin Gongzi! We've finally met you! Zhong Haimei and Nangong Lingbing said at the same time when they saw Lin Feng. Lin Feng said, "During this time, the 8th prince's men have been looking for you. Previously, the 8th prince sent someone to tell me that he saw you. I wanted to tell you that I was looking for you, but you managed to escape from the 8th prince's men." Zhong Haimei said, "We don't know which group of people are the 8th prince's men, but during this time, people have been looking for us. We suspect that they are from the spirit evil sect, so whenever we sensed that someone was following us, we would try our best to get rid of them. Perhaps the 8th prince's men were among the cultivators that we managed to shake off." Nangong Lingbing said, "Previously, we watched the battle between you and Tu Lu. At that time, we wanted to reunite with you, but who would have thought that the 2 of us would be targeted? At that time, we felt a dense killing intent quickly approaching, so the 2 of us quickly left and hid for a few days before daring to come out." "I see." Lin Feng nodded and said, "Since we've met up, let's head to the spirit evil sect tomorrow to rescue your master." "Thank you, young master." Zhong Haimei and Nangong Lingbing were overjoyed when they heard this. Lin Feng said, "Rest in the Prime Minister's residence for a day. I'll have Fairy Shui arrange a place for you to stay later." The 2 women quickly nodded. Fairy Shui arrived not long after. When she saw Zhong Haimei and Nangong Lingbing, she looked at Lin Feng and smiled. "Young master! May I know who these 2 fairies are?" Lin Feng said, "These 2 are my friends. This is Zhong Haimei and this is Nangong Lingbing. They came to find me because there are some things that they need to deal with. Fairy Shui, please arrange a place for them to stay." "Naturally, no problem." Fairy Shui nodded. Fairy Shui nodded and called for a servant to prepare an elegant residence for Zhong Haimei and Nangong Lingbing. At night, Fairy Shui invited Lin Feng to her courtyard. How could Lin Feng not come when the beauty had a date with him? Moreover, Lin Feng had wanted to say goodbye to Fairy Shui. It wouldn't be good to say goodbye when he left tomorrow. Thus, today was the most appropriate time. When Lin Feng arrived, Shui was playing her zither. Her music was beautiful. Lin Feng looked for a place to sit down. He quietly listened to the beautiful music played by Shui's music. Shui stood. Shui came to Lin. The voice said faintly, "It seems that young master is about to travel far away." Lin Feng nodded and said, "Indeed. I plan to leave the imperial capital tomorrow. Therefore, I came today to say goodbye to you." Shui was. Their bodies were almost stuck to each other. Lin Feng could even hear her breathing. "Young master, is there anyone in this vast imperial capital that you're reluctant to part with?" Fairy Shui asked as she exhaled. She looked straight into Lin Feng's eyes with her charming eyes. Fairy Shui's hint was very obvious. Lin Feng knew what she was thinking, but Lin Feng was focused on cultivation. Lin Feng already had so many women. Lin Feng wouldn't mess with a woman unless Lin Feng really liked her. Otherwise, Lin Feng wouldn't have tried to flirt with other women. Fairy Shui was a goddess in the hearts of countless people. There were cultivators who liked her. Countless of them. There was probably an endless stream of people chasing after her. But even so what? Lin Feng still didn't want to mess with Fairy Shui. Even if Fairy Shui sent herself to him. Even if Fairy Shui kept hinting at Lin Feng. But Lin Feng didn't have that thought. Lin Feng avoided Fairy Shui's gaze and said, "Naturally, there are some people that I miss. You are one of them. To be able to see a friend in an unfamiliar city was something to be happy about. Young master and I, are we just friends?" Fairy Shui asked in a faint voice. Lin Feng said, "We should be good friends." Fairy Shui sighed inwardly. This small gathering ended very quickly. Lin Feng returned to his residence. The next day, he bid farewell to Fairy Shui. Then, he set off with Zhong Haimei and Nangong Lingding to the Spirit Evil sect. The Spirit Evil sect was located in the northwest of the Bitter Cold province. That area was covered by a huge dark mountain range. The dark mountain range was covered in restrictions, and wild beasts roamed freely. Danger lurked everywhere. Ordinary people didn't dare to set foot in that area. And the Spirit Evil sect was located in the depths of the mountain range. The Spirit Evil sect was a rather special faction. This faction's inheritance included the Immortal Dao, the Evil Dao, and the Devil Dao. The Spirit Evil sect was ranked rather low among the 9 factions, only ranked 8th. But this didn't mean that the Spirit Evil sect wasn't strong enough. In fact, it was the opposite. The Spirit Evil sect was an extremely terrifying faction. In terms of foundation, the top few factions wouldn't dare to say that they could suppress the Spirit Evil sect. It was just that the Spirit Evil sect had declined in recent years. Not long after the 3 left the capital, a cloud of evil fog flew over, covering the sky and surrounding Lin Feng's group. "It's the Spirit Evil sect," Zhong Haimei whispered. Lin Feng nodded and coldly looked at the evil fog. There were many people hidden in the evil fog. Although he couldn't see them, Lin Feng's perception was strong and could sense their existence. "Kid! We know who you are. We also know that you killed Tulu not long ago. But so what? Although Tulu is strong, he has only cultivated for a short period of time. How can he be compared to the experts of the Spirit Evil sect? These 2 women are people that the Spirit Evil sect wants to capture. If you know what's good for you, you should leave on your own accord and not get involved in this mess." A cold voice sounded from the evil fog. Lin Feng sneered. "So what if I get involved in this mess?" The existence in the evil fog laughed sinisterly and said, "Do you smell a faint fragrance in the air? Check your magic power and see if you can still circulate it." Chapter 3945. Evil cultivators love to use some sinister moves or methods to deal with other cultivators. Obviously, these people from the Spirit Evil sect had used such a despicable method to deal with Lin Feng, Zhong Haimei, and Nangong Lingbing. Seeing the unconscious Zhong Haimei and Nangong Lingbing, Lin Feng's expression changed slightly. Fortunately, he did not have the time to circulate his magic power. Otherwise, he might have fainted like the 2 women. However, the 2 women's breathing was stable, so they should be fine. Lin Feng quickly communicated with the white jade toad and had it secretly detoxify him. At the same time, Lin Feng needed to stall for time to buy enough time for the white jade toad to detoxify. He asked, "What poison did you use just now?" "It's a colorless and odorless poison. Once inhaled into the lungs, it will fuse into the blood. Then, following the blood, it will flow into the body's limbs and bones. As long as you circulate your magic power, the magic power in your body will become chaotic. In light cases, you'll directly faint and die. In serious cases, you'll go mad. Originally, I thought that all 3 of you would be poisoned. Who would have thought that these 2 women would be so impatient to circulate their magic power, causing you to become alert? Thus, you did not circulate your magic power to check your body's condition, so you did not suffer any deeper injuries. However, this is not a problem. Although you did not circulate your magic power. However, this poison has already caused you to lose the ability to fight. Now you are a turtle in a jar. The existence in the evil fog said sinisterly. In his voice, there was an indescribable pride. Obviously, he felt proud of himself for successfully scheming against Lin Feng and the other two. It seems that the words you said before to not interfere in this matter were just a means to attract my attention? Lin Feng narrowed his eyes and said, Of course. You are a big fat sheep, we are not willing to let you go. The voice continued. Ha ha. Immediately, the laughter of many cultivators came out from the evil fog. Lin Feng was young and had endless luck. He had many magic treasures on him, even the legendary stone sword, which made the cultivators of the spirit evil sect extremely envious. In addition, Lin Feng had many strong orthodoxies on him. His endless wealth was enough to make people go crazy. Therefore, these people from the evil spirit sect would naturally think of ways to kill Lin Feng. Ignorant, Lin Feng said sarcastically. The group of people who were laughing complacently immediately stopped when they heard Lin Feng's ridicule. Brat, you're about to die, yet you still dare to say such reckless words to us. It seems that you're really arrogant, and don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Kill him for me! That voice rang out once more, and it was filled with dense killing intent. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. 3 figures flew out, charging towards Lin Feng. Some experts began to attack Lin Feng. He wanted to kill Lin Feng. Humph! Lin Feng couldn't help but snort. The poison in his body had already been neutralized by the white jade toad. These people were no longer a threat to Lin Feng. He flicked his finger. 3 streams of sword chi flew out. Puff! 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 3 sword beams instantly pierced through the bodies of the 3 cultivators. The 3 cultivators screamed miserably. Their bodies fell to the ground, and they died on the spot. You can still use your magic? The existence in the evil fog cried out in disbelief. He originally thought that Lin Feng was poisoned and couldn't use his magic, which was why he was so arrogant. If he knew that Lin Feng was fine, he would have fled long ago. My methods! How can you dogs and cats know about them? Lin Feng's eyes couldn't help but reveal a dense killing intent. Run! The leader of the cultivators in the evil fog shouted in a deep voice. Although their cultivation was not bad, they knew that they were far from Tulu. Tulu was killed by Lin Feng. Now that Lin Feng wasn't poisoned, what could they use to fight against Lin Feng? Therefore, there was only one choice left, and that was to run. As far as they could go, they had to run. Otherwise, only death awaited them. It's too late to run now. Lin Feng laughed coldly, and a stream of sword chi shot out. Then, the sword chi split into numerous dazzling and terrifying sword chis in the air. Every sword chi contained destructive power. All of them contained a power that could destroy heaven and earth. In an instant, they caught up to the group of cultivators and attacked them. Puff! 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 The sound of tearing could be heard as the cultivators' bodies were instantly torn apart, killed by Lin Feng's sword chi. The group of cultivators was killed in the blink of an eye. After Lin Feng collected their storage rings, he carried Zhong Hai Mei and Nan Gong Lingbing with one hand and left. Lin Feng didn't have any romantic thoughts with the beauties in his arms. After leaving the area, he found a secluded valley and landed. He placed the 2 women on the ground, then summoned the white jade toad to help them detoxify the poison. Lin Feng took out the storage rings he had just obtained and checked to see if there was anything good. Lin Feng naturally didn't care about ordinary treasures. Only some top-tier treasures could catch Lin Feng's eye. Lin Feng searched for a while and didn't find anything particularly heaven-defying. However, Lin Feng did find a map. This map depicted the entire Spirit Evil sect. It was a map of the Spirit Evil sect. Lin Feng browsed through it, and had a general understanding of the Spirit Evil sect. 2 hours later, the 2 women woke up. Lin Feng sent the white jade toad back into the space of time. He looked at Zhong Hai Mei and Nan Gong Lingbing, then asked, How do you feel? The 2 women said, Our bodies are fine. Thank you for saving us, young master. Lin Feng said, You don't have to be so polite. Let's rest for 15 minutes. You can rest for a while before we continue our journey. The two women nodded. 3 months later, Lin Feng and the two women arrived at a small town 1,000 miles away from the dark forest. This town was called Wooden Town. The town was quite lively. Lin Feng had the two women stay in the town for the time being while he went to rescue celestial mortal Fanjin. The two women knew that with their cultivation, it would be difficult for them to help Lin Feng. If they went with Lin Feng, they would only be a burden to Lin Feng. Therefore, when Lin Feng told them to wait in the town, they agreed without hesitation. Lin Feng rested in the town for a day, adjusting his condition to its peak. Then, he flew toward the dark forest. No matter what, Lin Feng would do his best to save celestial mortal Fanjin. After all, celestial mortal Fanjin would determine whether or not Lin Feng could obtain the fourth type of hockey. Along the way, Lin Feng noticed that many cultivators had entered the dark forest. Although the dark forest was dangerous, there were many precious resources and various treasures. Chapter 39-46. After Lin Feng entered the dark forest, he flew all the way to the depths of the forest. In the depths of the dark forest, one could see powerful beasts passing by from time to time. Those beasts were baring their fangs and brandishing their claws, terrifying and ferocious. However, it was difficult for them to intimidate Lin Feng. Lin Feng basically did not stop on the way. When he passed by a continuous mountain range, a dragon's roar came from the depths of the mountain range. The dragon's roar shook the heavens and earth, resounding through the clouds. When he heard the dragon's roar, Lin Feng quickly flew towards the mountain range. From afar, he saw a huge flaming dragon, its huge body rushing out of a volcano. The flaming dragon seemed to want to undergo a deeper transformation. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. At this moment, the sound of something breaking through the air came from afar. The evil fog rolled, and there were many cultivators hidden in it. Are these people from the evil spirit sect? Seeing the people who came, Lin Feng could not help but be surprised. He had a deep impression of the aura of the evil spirit sect cultivators. It was this aura. Moreover, when the evil spirit sect members went out, they would be surrounded by this evil fog, as if they were afraid that others would not know that they were from the evil spirit sect. The main reason was that the evil spirit sect was simply too powerful. Therefore, when they went out, they would be surrounded by evil fog. This way, it would let others know their identity, and it would serve as a warning. This way, when some people saw their identity, they would not have any ill intentions. Lin Feng hid, and he could not help but frown slightly. What were these evil spirit sect cultivators doing here? From the looks of it, they seemed to have come here specially. A group of people stood in the void. The evil fog disappeared, and more than 20 people appeared. The person in the lead was a beautiful woman who looked to be in her 30s. The beautiful woman wore a white palace dress, and her voluptuous figure was very charming. "My lord, this fire dragon is going to undergo its 9th transformation," a evil spirit sect cultivator said. The beautiful woman said, "The 9th transformation, it is almost ready to be used as a sacrifice. When the fire dragon completes its transformation, immediately kill the fire dragon." "Yes," the others replied. "Sacrifice? What sacrifice? These people want to kill the fire dragon and use it as a sacrifice? What are they trying to do?" Lin Feng couldn't help but wonder. The whereabouts of these people from the evil spirit sect were strange, but Lin Feng felt that they must have some secret that they could not tell others. He had never shown himself, hiding in the dark to observe. The fire dragon's transformation attracted the lightning tribulation. Bolts of lightning tribulation came crashing down. Huolong began his tribulation. After the tribulation was over, Huolong's injuries were extremely severe. In the end, he was only left with half of his life. "Do it!" the beautiful woman said coldly. Whoosh! Whoosh! Following that, those cultivators flew out in different directions. The cultivators of the evil spirit sect each took out a flying sword. The origins of those flying swords were extremely extraordinary. The flying swords were called Dragon's Slaying Sword and were specially made for slaying dragons. There were a total of 24 dragons slaying swords. It was extremely powerful. Under the control of the evil spirit sect cultivators, the 24 dragons slaying swords slashed towards the fire dragon as fast as lightning. The roar of the fire dragon shook the heavens. He spat out a dragon breath attack to block the attacks of the dragon salliers. Although the fire dragon was severely injured, it was still very powerful. It actually managed to block the attacks of the 24 dragon swords. Humph! The beautiful woman snorted coldly, soared into the sky, and charged towards the fire dragon. Then, a palm struck towards the fire dragon. That palm contained the power to destroy the heavens and earth. It was as if it could destroy the world. It was extremely terrifying. It instantly dispersed the dragon breath that the fire dragon spat out. The 24 dragons slaying swords quickly flew to the fire dragon's side. Then, it directly pierced through the fire dragon's body. Roar! The fire dragon let out an incomparably mournful cry as dragon blood splattered everywhere. However, the fire dragon's vitality was extremely tenacious, so it did not die. The fire dragon turned around and wanted to escape, but it was already too late. The beautiful woman took out a silver spear. He held the spear in his hand, becoming one with it. It turned into a peerless edge as it pierced towards the fire dragon. Lin Feng was extremely surprised. He never thought that the beautiful woman's weapon would actually be a silver war spear. Normally, female cultivators would rarely choose to use treasures like war spears as their weapons. The fire dragon opened its bloody mouth and spat out a ball of flame towards the beautiful woman. However, the ball of flame was instantly shattered by the peerless edge that the beautiful woman had transformed into. Then, the peerless edge that the beautiful talisman had transformed into instantly pierced through the fire dragon's head. The fire dragon's huge body fell from the sky and smashed into the forest. The beautiful woman kept the fire dragon's corpse into her storage ring, then quickly left with a group of people. Lin Feng followed closely behind this group of people. He wanted to see what these people were doing. They went all the way into the dark forest, and finally arrived at a mountain range in the depths of the dark forest. This was the mountain gate of the Spirit Evil sect. There were 2 huge stone sculptures at the entrance of the Spirit Evil sect. The stone sculpture on the left was an evil god, and the stone sculpture on the right was a demon god. Bearing its fangs and brandishing its claws, it was sinister and terrifying. Above the Spirit Evil sect, there was an incomparably huge demon revealing mirror floating. That demon revealing mirror enveloped the entire Spirit Evil sect. If any outsider dared to sneak into the Spirit Evil sect without permission, they would immediately be discovered by this demon revealing mirror. Of course, it wasn't that cultivators didn't have a way to dispel the detection of the demon revealing mirror. For example, they had some magic treasures that could make them invisible. However, these magic treasures were too rare. Another example would be someone like Lin Feng who knew the Great Destiny technique. Obviously, this kind of cultivator was also as rare as phoenix feathers and qilin horns. Lin Feng silently sent a stream of destiny power into the demon revealing mirror. Following that, Lin Feng used the Tao of Space and hid in the void, sneaking into the Spirit Evil sect. The Great Destiny technique could conceal heaven's secrets. This mystique was quite useful. Not only was its attack power strong, it could also be used in many situations. After Lin Feng sneaked into the Spirit Evil sect, he saw a huge square not far from the mountain gate. Right now, there were a large number of Spirit Evil sect cultivators gathered in the square. There were even a few Emperor-level powerhouses. Lin Feng guessed that those Emperor-level powerhouses were the hidden powerhouses of the Spirit Evil sect. Even that beautiful woman could be the hidden powerhouse of the Spirit Evil sect. In the middle of the square, there was a huge altar. These people seemed to be conducting a ritual. After the beautiful woman arrived, she immediately took out the fire dragon's corpse. She flicked her finger. A stream of divine light shot into the fire dragon's corpse. The originally several thousand meters long fire dragon's corpse instantly became more than 10 meters long. Then, the beautiful woman placed the fire dragon's corpse on the altar. Chapter 39-47. After putting down the fire dragon's corpse, the beautiful woman retreated into the crowd and stood with a few emperor-level powerhouses. At this time, an old woman wearing a priest's robe walked out. That old woman was holding a huge scepter. The scepter was forged from white bones. It was unknown what kind of creature's bones it was, but it emitted a sinister and terrifying aura. At the top of the scepter was a human skull. The entire scepter was wrapped in dense runes. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter. This spirit evil sect was indeed worthy of being an evil force. Even the magic treasures passed down were so terrifying. Lin Feng lay dormant in the void, not daring to make too big of a move. Although he used the power of destiny to block the perception of the demon-revealing mirror. But if his movements were too big, he might be sensed by those powerhouses. Those powerhouses weren't to be trifled with. The old witch took the white bone scepter to the front of the altar and began to jump up and down. As she jumped up and down, she muttered something. This was an extremely ancient sacrificial ritual, commonly known as the Great God Dance. Some factions with longer inheritances still had this kind of sacrificial method. This old witch had this sacrificial ritual. There was a big difference between this sacrificial ritual and ordinary sacrificial ritual. The priest who presided over the ordinary sacrificial ritual could be either a priest or a priestess. But only a priestess could perform the Great God Dance. As for why this was so, it was unknown. On the altar, in addition to the fire dragon's corpse, there was also a demon statue. The creature that the spirit evil sect was sacrificing to should be that demon. However, he didn't know the origin of that devil. That demon statue was very strange. From within its body, it emitted a sinister and terrifying aura. After feeling the aura emitted from the demon statue's body, Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter. It was clearly just a stone statue. How could its aura be so terrifying? That stone statue was a little strange. As the sacrificial ritual progressed, the fire dragon's body began to dry up. The fire dragon's flesh and blood. It was gradually devoured by the demon statue. This was an extremely shocking scene. The devil statue was actually able to absorb the fire dragon's flesh and blood essence. It was extremely strange. It was Lin Feng's first time seeing such an ancient ritual, so he was very shocked. However, the cultivators from the spirit evil sect were different. They seemed to have experienced such a ritual before. Therefore, many people had calm expressions on their faces. Whoosh! Whoosh! Suddenly, the eyes of the demonic stone statue lit up, and then the two eyeballs kept rolling. After seeing this scene, Lin Feng's face slightly changed. The evil demon statue had actually come to life. Great Lord Abyssal Demon, you have finally awakened! The old witch was very excited. She knelt on the ground and kowtowed to the demon statue. The rest of the people from the evil spirit sect knelt on the ground and paid their respects to the evil demon statue. At this time, Lin Feng saw a stream of energy emerging from the evil spirit sect cultivator's head. The energy was all absorbed by the devil stone statue. The power of faith. This energy was the power of faith. These people believed in the abyssal demon in front of them, so they produced the power of faith. My servant! Is there a matter for you to communicate with the great abyssal demon King Abbas? The devil stone statue actually spoke. Abbas Demon King. That should be the name of this guy. He didn't know what kind of world this guy was from. Lin Feng guessed that it might be a creature from a high-level world. Oh great master, I'm afraid that the master of the boundless ghost sand will be born soon. Great master told us to keep an eye on the boundless ghost sand. When we learned of this, we immediately activated the seal to report this matter to Great Master, the old witch said with an incomparably sincere voice. The master of the endless ghost sand is about to be born? This is really big news. This matter is indeed very important. For you to be able to report the news in time, it can be said that you have made a great contribution. This king will not treat you unfairly. This is a lump of abyss origin. This lump of abyss origin can help you break through your cultivation. As for how to distribute it, you can discuss it yourselves. As soon as he finished speaking, the void split open. In the void that had split open, a lump of abyss origin flew out. That lump of abyss origin contained an unimaginably pure energy. When he sensed the energy of that lump of abyss origin, Lin Feng realized that even his cultivation state was getting restless. Lin Feng's face changed. That lump of abyss origin was way too extraordinary. It could definitely allow a cultivator's cultivation state to soar by leaps and bounds. "Thank you, Master." The old witch hurriedly thanked him profusely. The rest of the people from the Spirit Evil sect hurriedly kowtowed to the Devil Stone statue as well. But just at this moment, the void split open as a tremendous amount of power gushed out and coiled around that lump of abyss origin. Lin Feng had initially wanted to take advantage of the fact that those people from the Spirit Evil sect had defeated the Devil Stone statue, and did not have the time to collect the abyss origin to collect it. But someone else had beaten him to it. Seemed like someone else was also spying on the abyss origin. Only, he did not know the identity of the other party. To think that they would be the same as him, sneaking in silently. The methods of the other party were truly extraordinary. However, Lin Feng felt that the other party might have used a magic treasure to sneak in. This was because cultivators who cultivated the Great Destiny technique were simply too rare. In the myriad of worlds, cultivators who cultivated the Great Destiny technique could be described as rare as phoenix feathers and qilin horns. Thus, Lin Feng was able to deduce that the other party had used a magic treasure to sneak in. "You're courting death!" The cultivators of the Spirit Evil sect roared in anger, their eyes overflowing with killing intent. The other party actually dared to sneak into the Spirit Evil sect and snatch away the abyss origin in front of so many experts of the Spirit Evil sect. It was simply a blatant slap to the faces of all the cultivators of the Spirit Evil sect. "Chase! Chase for me!" The old witch roared in anger. So, one by one, the Emperor-level experts took the lead in chasing after them. A large number of experts of the Spirit Evil sect also rushed out. He definitely could not take this lying down. The Spirit Evil sect still had 2 Emperor Lords that had yet to leave. One of them was the old witch. The second was the beautiful woman. It was obvious that they needed to guard the Spirit Evil sect. The old witch said, "You went to hunt the dragon. It's already extremely tiring. Go back and rest." "Yes, Granny!" The beautiful woman nodded and left. The old witch also left the plaza. Some of the cultivators of the Spirit Evil sect began to tidy up the altar. Lin Feng was still a little regretful that he was not able to obtain the abyss origin, but he quickly felt relieved. The main reason he came here this time was to save the fairy Fanjin. You're tuning into the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.